Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUX.Chevrolet.com. Get in touch with Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the entire crew over there at Go Chevrolet. LaPlace, Louisiana, for the brand new cars are right here in Baton Rouge on Sherwood Forest and Florida Boulevard is where you can find Go Express Auto Sales Daily. Our coffee is presented by Majestic Coffee, DeliciousSips.com. Our water is True Blue Water. That's TRU, BlueWater.com. You want to get on the delivery route today, just get online at TrueBlueWater.com. Our guest today via the phone line are compliments Metropolitan Health Group. Will Wade, LSU head basketball coach, coming up here 7:30 this morning. We'll talk to Coach about some of the early days of practice, who has stuck out, some of the lineups that he's looking at here early in the season, what he thinks about the beginning of the year and his schedule. All of that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll also talk to Max Toscano from And the Valley Shook.
Yes.
I feel like that was a question.
It is.
Kind of was.
He's a mystery man. I've never met him. We've just been going back and forth on Twitter. So it's like
he might show up, he might not.
No, he'll be on
like
at 8 a.m., but I don't know much about it. It's like a blind date.
Okay.
8:15, Ben Mintz.
Know a lot about Ben.
Mintzy will be here at 8:15.
When y'all see this video, oh my God,
I can't
this
wait.
man.
I saw it.
With the shot collar?
Yeah.
It is unbelievable, dude. Mincy is all in on everything, and I love him.
Six-pack of winners from Mincy coming up at 8:15. Nathan Velasquez will be here before we get out of here at 9 a.m. this morning. In fact, Rohan Davey's going to be here later, I believe, right around 9.
What?
Yeah. Going to bring in some people from F3 Elite, talk a little 7-on-7, who we're watching tonight. Edna Carr playing John Curtis on ESPN2 tonight. So there'll be national television audience for high school football down here in South Louisiana, with all eyeballs down in New Orleans on Edna Carr and John Curtis. That should be a great one as the two powerhouses from New Orleans meet up. So lots to get to here on the Jordy Culotta Show. As we said, daily presented by Go Chevrolet. All of our supporters, our official Spice Papa Earls. Find Papa Earls locally here wherever you pick up your groceries. Hi Neighbor, Rouse's, Calandro's, 30% less sodium than the competition. Pick them up online, papaearls.com. Catholic High versus West Monroe. Is that tonight?
Yes.
Oh.
Is it in Baton Rouge?
I think it's in West Monroe. I will check though.
STM Neville next weekend. What game we going to tonight, Noah? Anything standing out?
I haven't seen. I haven't
You're
seen
rattling
it.
off great games.
They are, but I mean, they're all outside the area. I'm talking about in the greater Baton Rouge area. What's the best game? Hop inside of the bunker, hop inside of the chat app, and make sure we're getting there, and you can interact with us. We do need to start paying attention to Facebook. Does anybody watch Facebook? Does anybody keep it?
I mean, it's live on there.
I don't ever touch Facebook.
I don't know.
I don't want
There
to.
We have two
It's
people
probably
watching
safer that
on
way.
Facebook.
It is.
But it gets up. It gets popping. Sometimes there's like 15 people in the chat, 20 people, and they're like actively talking.
Yeah.
And
to
we're
each
not,
other.
Yeah, we're not responding, so we could probably do a little better on that end.
JordyCulottaShow.com is also a place to watch the game. Classic NFL football game last night. That was a good one for Thursday night.
Washington
You usually
team.
don't get a good one on Thursday night.
You don't?
And especially when you saw those two teams on the docket, Giants and Washington football team. Ugh. It felt like a bad one.
It was either going to be real bad or so bad it was good, and I think we got a little mix of both.
I agree.
Daniel Jones is just a wild man.
He
He's
is.
out there sprinting.
He's got
just
wheels.
running. He's
got wheels.
He's
Dude,
an athlete.
He ran for 95 yards. They took away a 60-yard touchdown run.
I know, man.
Dual.
He runs. I mean, like
threat?
I don't know. He turns it over too much when he runs. Like he's got like a fumble problem.
Yeah, he's fumbled the most of any quarterback in the league since he's entered the NFL.
I was impressed with Heineke. I mean,
he's a baller.
You know what
He should
I
be their
love
guy.
about Heineke is that it's obvious his teammates love him.
Yeah.
His teammates
Ooh,
go
that
for him.
playoff
Like,
game last year
yeah.
against the Buccaneers, he just earned everyone's respect.
Chase Young running step for step with Saquon last night. What a freak!
We're entering the same territory where we are in the NBA, where these guys are too athletic for the sport. Like, how are we going to do this when you have a defensive end chasing down probably the most athletic running back in the NFL? Like, what are we doing here?
Scotlandville versus Warren Easton.
Ooh.
That could be a good one.
Yeah.
That could be a great one. All right, so jam-packed here on this Friday, closing out the week for you. We'll get you a lot of football, get you a lot of coverage inside of what's happening tomorrow over at LSU. Ogeron was speaking for the last time, and surprise, surprise, he gave you pretty much what they're going to do. They're going to pick it up. They're going to start going hurry up here. We should see some more hurry up attack, according to Ed Ogeron in his latest press briefing yesterday afternoon. Says he really wants to see this offense moving at a high rate of speed. I think this is probably a popular sentiment through the first 2 weeks of the season. There has been a lot of, how in the hell is the play clock getting so far down before the play is snapped? I mean, I know that we were out in UCLA and we were steady watching the play clock, and I mean, routinely it was getting inside of 3 seconds. I thought for a couple of snaps they really kind of caught a break, not getting the call because it felt like the clock got to 0, but no flag on the play. So maybe something to look out for this weekend as far as maybe a new wrinkle inside the offense. At least it seems like that's what the head coach is looking for.
Yeah, going warp. And I love how he goes, I don't want to tell you the game plan. He proceeds to tell you the game plan, step for step. It's like, well, we're going to do this. We'd like to go faster. You're probably going to see a little bit more up-tempo.
Austin Deculus is going to play.
Deculus is back. Like, it's the antithesis of everything that Bill Belichick does, which is like Tom Brady was questionable for probably 14 weeks of every year with a knee or an ankle. And it's just a little thing that you're like, well, maybe he won't play. But you know he will. But then Coach O is just the exact opposite. Like, he's not going to play. Dwight McLaughlin's hurt. He'll be back next week.
Yeah.
And so he just gives you everything on a silver platter, essentially, after saying he won't.
It is. It's fascinating, really. I mean,
has anybody ever done this before?
That. He always does it, right?
Yeah. I mean, he
That's
always
expected
has.
from him.
Not anybody that I've ever covered. You know what I mean? Like, nobody. I mean, everybody I've ever covered is so scared of the media. You know what I mean? Like, so scared to even like give any type of insight to what's going on. So we're going to talk to Will Wade here about 5 minutes. They just got out of their morning routine. They simulated a road game this morning.
How'd they do that?
For LSU basketball. So they do an early morning Friday conditioning, a team building, which they call a road game, but it's just like basically preparing to be tough enough to win on the road. Like, I mean, like, you just throw all types of uncomfortable situations at them
like SEAL
before
training.
the sun really even comes
cool.
up.
SEAL training.
I mean, it really kind of is. I mean, it's really more mind games than it is physical.
Yeah.
But we'll ask him. We'll ask him some of the techniques and the tactics that they're using here early on in camp. Last time we talked to him, he was waiting on players like Jarrell Colbert. He had not yet gotten guys like Justice Williams into the program. Justice, of course, is a guy who was a very high-end recruit for 2022, but Coach Wade and the coaching staff from LSU, after he was reclassified, was able to land Justice Williams. Also, there's a 5-star on campus today. They are hosting a 5-star this morning on campus as the #1 power forward in the country. Jarace Walker is on an official visit to LSU this weekend, so it's going to be a busy time for LSU head basketball coach Will Wade coming up this weekend.
From IMG.
Yeah, which they've got a great relationship with IMG.
Great place to have a good relationship with.
Yeah, they're professional basketball players.
Brandon Murray, who is this year's freshman from IMG, I had a chance to watch him practice last week, and I mean, he's very impressive for a rookie, for a freshman. Just kind of his knowledge of the game, the way he moves and flows and kind of leads out there is ahead of his time. So, LSU has had tremendous success. Efton Reed comes from IMG Academy, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how this weekend goes with Jarace Walker, who's the #1 power forward in the country.
Is the football, like, I would imagine the football games are, like, he's on campus for that reason. Is that, like, a big draw for even for basketball to be able to get on the field and just kind of see the environment of what LSU is? Because they're two totally different things. Well, it just shows, like, there is passion here if you're good.
Absolutely. That's what you're selling. I mean, basketball official visits lined up with big football game weekends is no coincidence.
Right.
I mean, they want to show you the culture, show you the people, show you the passion, show you the tailgating, show you the love that people have for LSU. So yes, I mean, this is very much it goes hand in hand for all of the sports for LSU football to be good, because they very much take these Saturdays to show off. I mean, there'll be baseball recruits at this game tomorrow. There'll be all types of recruits. I mean, I'd imagine there'll be softball recruits. I mean, there'll be every sport that is out recruiting will be wanting to show off just the love and the culture that LSU has behind its fan base.
Sharif was out there last Saturday, and he had a gaggle of people. He's a superstar.
Yeah, he is.
Like, his personality has to be, like, magnetizing, because he always had, like, 8 to 10 people around him, and he obviously sticks out because he's massive.
Yeah.
But, like, I saw him before the game just walking by, and he had a crowd around him. Then I saw him after the game, like, when I was leaving at half to come back to the UDL, and he had, like, a ton of people around him again. He's just, like, kind of like his dad, holding court a little bit,
I
like
saw him out
joking around.
Yeah.
Out by Torches, he was throwing the football with some little kids.
Really? Oh,
And
that's cool.
he had his younger brother, Shakir, I think's his name. Yeah. Shakir was there with him.
Okay.
And then I saw, like, Darius Days, Adam Miller, and all them. They were all together. Efton Reed, they were all like a unit walking around campus for the game.
This basketball team's going to be a problem.
Are they ever?
That's awesome. Like, because you want the camaraderie so badly, and they seemed like
they have it.
This like team building Tuesdays or whatever that he did.
It works.
Like, obviously seemed to work, because they're.
Hey.
Nope.
Yeah, you got me?
Good.
We're good. All right, to the line we go. We will catch up with LSU head basketball coach Will Wade here on this Friday morning. Coach, thank you for the time. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. We were just talking about some of your training and some of the exercises that you were going through. You call it a road game here, and what you guys are just getting out of. Give us an idea of what that means for the guys.
Well, this morning it was in the football stadium. Tiger Stadium looks great, ready to roll tomorrow night. But we did some conditioning on the ramps. Then we did a circuit with bikes and ellipticals and things like that. That was on the ground level. We did that for a little bit, and then we did kind of a relay race with cones in the climbing up and down the student section. So it was it's a busy morning for the guys, and then we'll come back this afternoon and work out.
Talk about the advantage of being able to use Tiger Stadium, not for your training, but like tomorrow night to show off to recruits. And I know you've got a huge one in town this weekend with a big 5-star. How much does the stadium, the culture, everything come into play on a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium is an advantage for LSU basketball?
I tell people all the time, we have unrivaled passion with our fans, and it comes off on game day. The kids love it, the recruits love it, and it's a fun time. It's a great day. It's a great atmosphere. We always practice in the morning, and then let our guys. We do a little tailgate, and then our guys hop around and try to let them enjoy the experience as much as we can before the season starts. We don't get to enjoy the football and go to as many of the games. So it's a great showcase for LSU. It's a great showcase of Louisiana, and we have a lot of fun with it.
A lot of our crew was talking about seeing your guys out at the game last week and all of them being together. I've had a chance to see them just a little bit. This team feels very close. Feels like they're very much together. All of the team building that you've been working on in the offseason looks like it's paid off going into fall camp, going into training camp.
Yeah, I think we have a very connected team right now. I think the guys genuinely like each other. They enjoy being around each other. I've been a part of a lot of teams where it's 2 or 3 guys here, 2 or 3 guys here, and with this team, it's the whole group, and really just even we go to dinner together every night. You can't use your cell phones, and you got to talk and conversate with other people, and that just little things like that have helped us tremendously. And so you're really just looking for 3 to 5% of an advantage just through team building and through your guys being connected and your guys being close. And I think we're approaching that. We got to keep it that way when the bullets start flying and things start going a little haywire. You got to be able to keep it that way, but you also have to have some deposits in the bank to withdraw from. And I think we have a lot of deposits. We've had a lot of good team talks. We've had a lot of good speakers come speak with our team. We got another good one coming this coming week, and so I think we're going to be further along than we have been, and certainly further along than we were last year with COVID and all the protocols. I think it's going to be an advantage for our group.
The last time we talked to you, you were waiting on players like Alex Fudge, Jarrell Colbert. We didn't know about Justice Williams being reclassified. How have those guys impacted the team since seeing them on the floor work with the group that you've had all summer?
Well, we're happy to have him. Justice is somebody who plays at his own pace, just really, really good at getting to his spots, and it's a pass-first point guard, really, really sees the floor well, can make reads. He can make, complex ball screen reads, which is two people removed ball screen reads, and put the pass on time, on target. So he's going to be a really, really good player for us. Colbert just has tremendous raw natural ability, blocking shots. We've got to continue to get him stronger, continue to get him moving a little bit better, and just being able to think and play at the pace that you need to. That's requisite here in the SEC. But he's a tremendous raw talent, and Alex Fudge has just been awesome. He's long, he's athletic. He spent over an hour a day working on his jump shot just about every day from the summer till now. And so he's really improved, really gotten better. He makes some athleticism, some athletic plays every practice. I said that about Marlon when we had him. There was 2 or 3 plays a game he was the only guy that can make, and Fudge has a lot of that. We just got to continue to bring him along, and he's only 18 years old.
Wow.
There's kids in high school that are older than him. He was 17 when he got here. He turned 18 in May, at the end of May, and so he's just really, 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 really young. But I love him to death. He's a really diligent worker. He watches practice every night on his iPad after practice. He's texting you with notes, and so he's skinny, but he's a tough son of a gun now. Don't mistake him being skinny for not being tough. And so very pleased with him, and very pleased with what he's brought our group.
Coach, I want to go back to the Team Building Tuesdays, because this is something that's kind of new to me, and I wanted to ask you if you've ever implemented this before, whether it be at your previous stops, and how much do you think you could continue doing this and reaping the benefits? Because I wanted to get your thoughts on, you like to win between the margins. You talk about that 3 and 5%. How much have you seen that happen with the Team Building Tuesdays? And you can kind of watch this team evolve a little bit into becoming like a brotherhood.
Well, I've done it. I've done it in spurts. I haven't ever done it as consistently as I've done it this year, where it's every Tuesday we have something, and we've kind of alternated between a speaker and an activity, back and forth, 1 week speaker, 1 week activity, 1 week speaker, 1 week activity. And so I haven't done it as consistently. I've kind of, a couple times a month we'll have people in. So I think the consistency of it is what's going to be a differentiating factor for us. And there's some other things that go with it. We have our high performance team. We have our mental performance coaches that work with our guys. That I think that's part of that 3 to 5%. You're just looking for any of those little things in the margin. I think certainly the team building and the mental performance are areas that we're banking on this year to help us in those margins. And so we've invested a lot of time, a lot of resources into that. Like next week, we've got our team building on Tuesday. We've got 2 of our mental performance coaches that live out of town. They'll be here Wednesday and Thursday with the guys, and so we've got a big week next week as it relates to just making sure we're doing what we need to do in those margins to be successful. It's not a coincidence when you win a lot of close games. You've got to have some of that mental toughness, some of that cohesion with your group, and so we're going to be in a lot of close games this year, and we're going to need to have banked some good days on those fronts.
How have you liked the early days of workouts with your crew?
I mean, good. I mean, I like where we are. I think we got a tough bunch. I think we're extremely physical. We're gonna have to find out how to taper down a little bit in season, or we're just gonna be dealing with injuries. A lot of the year we've had some nagging injuries just because of of how hard our guys go, how hard they practice, how hard they get after it. And so I like our group's, work ethic, and I like where we're going for sure.
Wow, how do you coach against that? Because isn't that a mentality that you want to bring every day?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to be careful with it.
Yeah.
We've just got to be careful because we've got some really, really we've got some great depth and we've got some talented guys. But in my opinion, there's two positions where we, there's a pretty good drop off between our ones and our twos. Now there's three positions where there's basically no drop off. I mean, Jordy, you've seen, you know kind of what I'm talking about. But
right.
there's two spots where there's a pretty wide gap between who's going to start and who our other options are. And so, we've got to particularly hone in on those spots and make sure that we need those guys to be ready to go just about we need them to be ready to go every game. And so, we've just got to be cognizant of that. And, some of those other spots we can mix it up quite a bit more. But we got to make sure that, we got our best racehorses in the start gate every race.
Just an idea for the fans out there. What does a weekend look like when you have a high-end recruit in town like you do this weekend?
Well, we did the road game this morning. We certainly don't invite them to that.
Field training.
We certainly leave that part out of the visit. But we'll. I got my run in this morning before the road game, and then we'll do breakfast this morning with the recruit, tour the academic center. We will go to tour the apartments. I'll do a presentation, kind of a timeline presentation on where they are now and how we get to the NBA in a timeline type fashion. Then we'll eat lunch at the nutrition center. They'll come back. They'll watch workouts, do a photo shoot. Then we'll let them go rest for a little bit. Take them to dinner tonight. Then watch practice in the morning. We'll tailgate a little bit. Let them go rest. Go to football. Meet with some different folks around campus, and then Sunday we get them out of here. So it's pretty jam packed weekend, and I know a lot of sports. Softball's got some big time recruits in that they're bringing by, and so I know we've got a lot of sports with a lot of big time people in this weekend. So it'll be a good weekend for LSU.
Last one, I'll get you out of here. I know you had a turnover in your strength staff, and I know how much that spot means to you. What has the new position and it being filled meant to the program here in the offseason?
Well, it's certainly sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Huh. Yeah.
And it certainly changed. We've changed some things up, and so it's just a different direction for me. It's a different direction from what I'm used to. Our players really like it. I'm about to find out whether I really like it.
Right.
But no, I'm just joking. No, I mean, I think it's been good. Sometimes you just need to change things up, and I think we've been able to change things up, and I think it'll be really beneficial for us. But Coach Golden did a phenomenal job. I still talk to him, all the time, a couple times a week, and he's loving his new calling in life, and he's enjoying that and enjoying doing what he's doing. But I like where we are. I think our guys, I think their bodies feel better. Mm-hmm. I think it's more of an NBA approach. But I was very clear that, look, I just don't want to be pushing bands. Like we got to, we got to push weight too. We're not just stretching. Like we're not doing load management and all this stuff. Like we need to lift and run and condition and all those sort of things. So I think it's going to be very beneficial to us. I think some of the, I've been trying to get our nutrition better. I think it's helped with our nutrition. Our guys, Our guys are more bought into that, and like I said, we have those team dinners every night. So I think there's been a lot of progress made, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. But some of our guys just move better. I can tell the difference, and I'm not an expert in this area. That's why I hire really good people in these areas, because I told them I don't know anything about this. You can look at me and tell I don't know much about strength and conditioning. So,
Just run.
that's not my forte. And so, I'm going to let them have at it. But I think our guy, Eric Gaines has better balance. He's not falling down all the time. Afton, you can tell he's gotten better and stronger in some areas. So there's even stuff that even my untrained eye can tell has been progress for us. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how that translates on the court.
Boot up. Thank you for the information and the time this morning.
Anybody can train Brandon Murray. You know that, Jordy.
Hey, you got a great relationship with IMG Academy. You got to keep that up. I know that's a great relationship for the program, and he looks like he's going to be stellar in year one.
He looks like he could play middle linebacker for us, doesn't
he? He does. Have a great weekend, Coach. Thank you for the time this morning.
Thanks, guys. Boot up.
Boot up.
Boot up.
Yes, sir.
I love him so much.
He's the best.
Just the best.
He is the absolute best.
Oh God, he probably heard me.
He did hear you.
He's heard it all. He's heard it all.
Oh, I am?
Daily, we are
That's
brought to you.
private.
Remember, we're brought to you over here by RMB Builders. Get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over at RMB Builders. RMB-builders.com is how you get in touch and contact Rhett. These are personal testimonies from the Jordy Culotta show. He's done a ton of work over at Katie's house. Just wrapped up some work over at my house. He is great and very look, he stays on point, stays on time. The communication is great. He's very organized. As far as the contractor goes, he's everything that you could ask for. Online, rmb-builders.com. Get in touch with him. You need handiwork done, you need a total rehaul, or if you want to custom build a house, Rhett Bourgeois can help you out. rmb-builders.com. rmb-builders.com is where you can get in touch with him.
Does Will Wade sound very confident to you? Like,
Always.
I feel like I know, but
Right?
you can tell kind of in the interviews where he's at with the team, and it seems like whenever he's kind of like making jokes, whatever, he knows that he has a stellar squad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he kind of opened up the door in that conversation. I didn't really want to go and kind of give my thoughts on it, but he let me watch practice last Saturday, and like he was saying, he was like, you can see it out there. I mean, kind of the fall off that you have. I don't see it as glaring as he does. To me, this is his deepest team that he's had at LSU, and the thing that jumps out to me is when you go out there, there's no Trendon, there's no Javante. There's no one of those guys that really, there's no Nas Reed that you really just kind of like, wow, who is that? They're just all collectively really high-end hoopers. You know what I mean? Like from Adam Miller, he kind of sticks out. Brandon Murray, as he said, jumps out just because he's so physically
fit,
put together as a freshman. I mean, he's kind of like a Stingley type physique as a freshman. When you see him, you're like, that cat's a freshman? And the reason why we were kind of joking about IMG Academy at the end of that interview is because the big 5-star forward, Jerace Walker, who's in town this weekend, is from IMG Academy. Obviously LSU's had a lot of success on that campus, and Walker could be an enormous get for them if they were able to pull him off in the cycle. So it'll be a big weekend for recruiting. But just being out there and watching them play, the thing that jumps out is that there is an obvious emphasis on defense this year, with additions like Tari Eason and Efton Reed and guys like Mawani Wilkinson taking the next step from freshman to sophomore year. Those guys are going to give you an uptick in defensive presence immediately. I think the perimeter defense with guys like Xavier Pinson and Brandon Murray and Adam Miller and guys like that are going to really raise the intensity level on that side of the floor, because all these guys can score. Like, if there was one thing that jumped out last week is that, Darius Days, if you give him a crease, if you give him an opening, it's bucket. His 3-point efficiency, if there was a
comp,
not a comp. If there was one thing that I would be looking for more of, it would be a 3-point presence. Days seems to really have the only one. Miller can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how comfortable he is in doing it. Days has no problem. If he sets his feet, he's a bucket. I mean, he was hitting like transition threes last week, like in the like was pulling up in transition, like 2-on-1 type stuff, pulling up and like.
Cash.
I mean, yes. I mean, Wade was like blowing the whistle and mother effing everybody in there that wasn't closing out on Days. Yeah, right. Like, gotta find him.
Oh yeah.
I had little Jay with me, and it was pretty funny. Wade like brought the entire team together, you know, like before practice started, and they went through a film session, and he got in their ass.
And Jay's just there soaking it
just
up.
like got in their ass. And what I love about Wade is that he's going at like his high end players, yeah. Like, and you can tell they kind of like it. You know what I mean? They kind of like it because he'll dress you down. You know what I mean? Like he's got some John Brady vocabulary in there where you're just like, damn. You know what I mean? Like little Jay was like, I mean, his eyes were just like, wow. And I'm, you know,
could use
yeah, like, yeah, this is the big time, bro. You know what I mean? This is they're playing for keeps here. But yes, as he is breaking them down, he is building them up, and you can see that he gets it back on the floor. Then they get together, break, and they all get to the floor. And his practice is so efficient in the way that there's no wasted time. There is never a wasted minute in that practice in the way that it just runs from start to finish. I mean, if they probably worked for 2 hours and 20 minutes, 2 hours last week. I would venture to say there was probably 4 minutes of downtime. I mean, even the way that they rehydrate, you know what I mean, is not wasting time. I mean, like there's everybody is staying on task.
That go flow in.
Yes, I mean everybody has got a job. Everybody has got their lane. Everybody knows what their lane is, and everybody's sprinting. And it was fun to watch. I mean, this is going to be a really fun basketball season.
He's very Saban Belichickian in because there was a report coming out whenever they were doing training camp of the Patriots, and I think it was the Eagles that did a joint practice with them, and there's somebody that filmed it, and it was the Patriots had already gone through group stretching, team drills, and something else, and like the whole team was together before the Eagles were even on the field. Like they were like milling around, and practice starts at the same time for both teams, and the Patriots were already out there early, stretched, ready, and are doing like team drills while all of the Eagles are like still walking onto the field. It seems like Will Wade has kind of taken that to the next, like to the college basketball scene where everything's regimented, scheduled, and we're on time and ready to go because there's no real excuse. Right. He puts all that pressure on himself too.
Yeah, he does. He does. And like he said, I mean, he is very he's very honest about the things that he doesn't know. You know, I mean, like as far as the weight, strength, and conditioning goes, he's going to make sure that he hires the right people because he's telling you, look, this is what I want them to look like. This is how I want them to perform. This is what I need you to do. You know what I mean? And I'm entrusting you to get me there. Greg Golden, his former strength coach, I believe he's training Navy SEALs now. I believe he's like doing.
He really is.
Like I believe he's doing some type of. He's doing some type of that
Special
type of training,
work.
special forces type training.
Wow.
So I mean, this was
You're right.
a huge.
Will Wade got the PDF.
Yeah.
I mean, well, this was a big replacement for him. You know what I mean? Because this is an area and a focus that he understands. He's got to really rely on the expertise of that position. He really has to rely on somebody else using and implementing their style, their methods to get back in return what Wade wants. I mean, if Wade is anything, he's very much a control freak in the sense of he at least likes to know everybody's role. And he wants to know that it so well that if I have to step in and do it, I can drive the bus too. You know what I mean? I can make the meals, I can make the water, I can draw the practice plans, I can edit the film, I can, whatever it is, whatever the process of how he gets to preparation, he wants to know exactly how everybody gets there. And, you know, that was a very honest moment for him saying and stating. I mean, he does it with humor, but it is very much respected, in my opinion, to be at a level where you're earning $2.5 million to coach basketball and be out in the public and saying, I don't really know a lot about the strength and conditioning stuff. That's why I got to rely on this guy to get me there. And like he said, even my untrained eye is saying they're moving better, their balance is better. A guy like Eric Gaines, where even you still see him from year to year, from freshman to sophomore year. And last weekend, it didn't pop that, wow, he's put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
But he is moving better out there. It looks like he's more sturdy. It looks like he's more balanced, like Wade said. So it's going to be a fun basketball season, if nothing else. I'm telling you that this team is going to be exciting to watch, just in the style that they play, because of the depth that they have. I mean, they got legitimate 9 selection of players that he trusts that can play extended minutes. I think one of the biggest issues he's going to have is keeping everybody happy, because you're going to have players that are on the bench for extended time that they've never done that in their life. I mean, I'd venture to say like Brandon Murray. Brandon Murray is going to be a role player in his freshman season, and he's never been a role player in his life. I mean, from the time he was 8 years old till he was 18 at IMG, he was always the centerpiece of the team, or at least he wasn't coming off the floor.
Right.
I mean, he was playing 30-plus minutes. So they've got depth. They've got real depth.
And don't you think if we were to continue the basketball conversation just for a second, like, don't you think he's putting a lot of that pressure on himself to be able to almost like move the chess pieces on the board? Like, he knows he has all of the talent. It's just about him being able to plug and play at the right times. And that seems like a lot of his own doing. Like, he'll be making those shifts and calls and when to sub and when not to. And it's because, like you said, it's not a big three like you would see in the NBA. It's almost harkens back to like Detroit Pistons basketball, where you have so many players that you can put in. It's all about putting them in at the right time. And I feel like Will Wade's shouldering a lot of that responsibility.
I think that's where he wants to improve his in-game management.
Well, because he'll blame himself all
his
the
rotation.
time.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, that's the toughest part about his gig. I mean, like, all of the hard work of like preparing a team is going into it now. Like, you're putting in offenses, you're putting in your defensive philosophy, you're putting in your principles. All that stuff is happening from now until they tip the season off. I mean, this is when the most of the coaching of your team is happening. You're really developing, kind of the body of who you are right now. You're going to have to change some things within the season because of game plans and injuries and things that you'll have to be, adverse to. But, I mean, for the most part, this is where you're kind of rolling your sleeves up and coaching your team. Within the season, you got to manage minutes. You got to manage personalities. You got to manage, academics. I mean, that was, of the 15-minute pre-practice speech last week, about 8 minutes of it was academics. And it was, if anybody is ineligible on that team, they don't have an excuse, right? Because, I mean, first off, there's only 15 of them. It's totally different than overseeing a 105-member football program where you got to make sure these guys are staying on task. There's only 15 of these guys that you're overseeing. And, like Wade said, I mean, this team had a 3.0 in summer school. So what they did is they proved to Wade and the coaches is that they can do it. And through the first couple of weeks, a couple of setbacks ain't going to fly. You know what I mean? Shoot. And the way that they handle that stuff in-house is it'll smoke it out pretty quick. I mean, you don't want to be
another away game.
Yeah, bro. You don't want to be doing the stuff that they got to be going.
I had a shot for the moon there. You don't want to shoot it through a 3.0 right out the gate in summer school. You got to go for that 2.5, and then we'll get better from there. 3.0s, that's A's and B's.
Spencer Mays, a young addition to the team. Skylar Mays' younger brother. If anybody is privy to local basketball around the area.
See a picture of him, you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they all look alike. There's 5 Mays siblings out there, and I mean, they all are.
God, I didn't know there were 5.
There's 5
all
of them.
boys?
No, there's one. There's one girl.
Okay.
Are they all younger?
Spencer.
Just wondering how many we can get into the basketball team.
Spencer's the one on the team right now.
Yes.
There was an older one that played at Texas Tech. The oldest one played at Texas Tech and actually went to Episcopal. And then the rest of them have gone to University High, if I'm not mistaken. But a great family, a beautiful family, obviously. But Spencer Mays has been added to the roster this season as a preferred walk-on for LSU. I mean, and if you know Spencer Mays and if people are familiar with his game, That's the type of walk-on talent that they have on this squad. I mean, it is not outside the realm of possibility to believe that a guy like Mays can give you 6 to 8 minutes a game as a freshman in his preferred walk-on season. I mean, he is okay in the sense of, I mean, he can get out there, understands what he's doing. Now, there's a ton of depth and ton of talent on this team, and he's going to have to break through it. But, I mean, just giving you an idea of how talented they are, that's the walk-on status on this LSU basketball team. So good stuff. Daily, we're brought to you by Falaya Real Estate, online at falaya.com. Remember, get in touch with Falaya by downloading the app. If you're inside of your Google or Apple Android stores, or Apple or Android stores, you can find the Falaya app. And look, we've been telling you, everything's changing around us, even the ways that you buy and sell houses. Falaya is on the front end of that. They've got virtual tours. They've got push-button offers. They're redefining the way real estate is sold and bought around the area. For more information, visit falaya.com. If you're looking to sell your house this fall or thinking about doing it in the spring and trying for sale by owner, then you got to check out Falaya's listing plans. They start under $400. You can sell your house by yourself, save thousands with Falaya. For more information, visit them online at falaya.com. Good stuff from Will Wade today. I appreciate him being here, as always, on a very busy weekend. This is an enormous recruiting weekend for not only LSU basketball, as you heard Coach Wade talk about. The softball program will have big-time recruits on campus. Obviously, LSU football will have some unofficial visitors in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. So there's going to be big, high-end baseball recruits, which, by the way, they finalized their schedule yesterday and published it. I saw they'll be back at Minute Maid over in Houston for a non-conference tilt versus some of the top teams from around the area, including Baylor's going to be there. Oklahoma State, I saw, was going to be there. LSU will be there. So that should be a fun weekend to look forward to coming up in the spring with LSU baseball. And we'll talk to Coach Jay Johnson next week as he's had a chance to really be on campus, get to know his team. Now he's got his schedule and just kind of get an idea of where he is. Some of the things I've heard on Jacob Berry are scary. Like just how good Jacob Berry is going to be, and just how powerful that lineup can be with him, Cruz. But Jacob Berry, I mean, when is the last time LSU had a righty-lefty hitter like Jared Mitchell? Was Jared Mitchell a true switch hitter?
No, he batted only
He only batted left-handed, but he threw right-handed, right? He was not a switch hitter at all?
No.
I'm trying to – so, that's the one I had. I mean, has there been? I mean, the baseball historians. Micah Gibbs
played catcher when he batted switch.
But he was more of a defensive player, right? Wasn't his reputation more of defensive?
Yes, but when he came in, it was like, oh my God, you have the switch hitting catcher. Like everybody was calling him Joe Mauer, and it didn't live up quite to that hype. But he was an excellent defensive catcher, but he was a switch hitter.
This cat is, they say, just poisonous from both the right and left side. Like, I mean, he's the type of guy, you start the pitcher, you start the at-bat with a right-handed pitcher and you bring in a lefty, like he'll switch over. I mean, he's the number one of the college prospects out there. He's the number one recruit of the top 100. I mean,
to bring somebody like that in just on a whim
is unbelievable, right?
We got a Will Wade Jay Johnson scenario here where they're fighting. Then you add Kim Mulkey in. We've got people that are vying for the top for this thing. Who was going to be the BMOC at LSU?
I mean, who's the best recruiter on campus right now?
I mean, Frank
William Wade?
Yes.
I was like, wait, Frank.
I thought you were talking about Frank Wilson.
Me too. I was like,
love to have him back if he wants to come on.
He could be. I mean, he'll go down in the all-timers. But, I mean, you think Jay Johnson, Will Wade, Beth Tureen is a phenomenal recruiter.
Great personality.
Kim Mulkey. Have we said O?
I mean,
O.
We can shit on him all we want, but he can recruit.
No, that's his specialty.
Yes.
That's his specialty. Jay Johnson, obviously. I mean, it is a nice little cluster of recruiting heads that they got here. This is when Wade does his best work. I'd love to be around him today, where he's got the 5-star on campus. He's in salesman mode today. Yeah. I mean, he's selling today. He's selling the family. He's selling the recruit on everything that they can offer.
He's in Musk mode.
Yes, he's in must get mode. Yeah, to be quite honest with you. So it should be a great weekend. Keep your eyes peeled if you're heading out to campus on guys walking around there, prospective recruits, because it should be just a very eventful weekend. Let us know if you're inside of the bunker, if you're heading out to the game this weekend. Really rode
Middleton, third floor. Middleton Library, third floor. We'll see you there.
Just give the double knock. I was
at 11:55 a.m. for a good time.
busting my boys' balls from traction yesterday. They called the game too early, the flag games yesterday. It was wet yesterday morning. There was rain in Baton Rouge, but the sunshine kind of peaked out around 1 o'clock and never.
But those fields had
never
to be
gave up.
out,
The fields had to be wet.
Well,
but I
soggy.
mean, we've missed a couple of weeks here now.
Yeah, you have.
How many games would
killing
you?
it.
How many games would you play in a row if they were like, we need to make up?
3
You would play 3 just back to back to back.
for sure. I mean, they're 10, bro.
Yeah.
And they got energy for days. As long as
he's not
you
going to
got a couple of
school.
Capri Suns and some
Orange slices.
some
he's
fruit,
good to go.
you know what I mean? We're good, man. Yeah, it was a bummer. That was a bummer. It hadn't rained
When
out
does
yesterday.
what's the?
So what's the forecast for tomorrow?
It's all
knows?
50% for like the rest of the.
I feel like
I
it's
bet
kind
it
of
is,
gone.
Dr. Caparato. What a gig! What a gig
What
he's
a
got.
gig.
Yeah, I don't know, 50-50.
60%
Ah, okay.
Saturday.
It's,
All right.
it's said that though all along, and it was supposed to be raining all day today though.
What's
and
the
last
window on
night.
that?
That didn't happen.
I don't know. Apple.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, I don't know. We might escape the rain.
What is What's the timeline on you getting an indoor facility built for flag football?
Well, I think I've kind of missed my window. I was pushing for it. My dad had a gig that had an indoor access to like a warehouse that they would store some stuff.
That's not Italian at all.
That I was trying
like,
to.
Wait, what?
Yeah, right.
Kids, come on
That I was
in.
trying to get some carpet laid in.
Yeah, you
the
were.
trash business.
to try and remedy days like this. But at this point, I think I've kind of, you know what I mean. 5th grade, he's kind of off and moving now.
You're about to have to let him go.
I know, man.
He's going to be in somebody else's hands. He's going to be such a fence post parent. Just going to be out there at 3 o'clock when practice starts. You see Culotta going,
Yeah.
I would do it.
Hey, Coach, I left you a voicemail. Just let me know when you can call me back. Appreciate it.
That is exactly right.
All right, in 10 minutes, we're going to talk to Max Toscano, who breaks down LSU football for And the Valley Shook. We're really going to dive into kind of the nuts and bolts of this thing. We're going to ask him about some of the struggles, and he's going to break it down from a very football point of view. So we're going to dive into it here. It's going to kind of be a film room session if you're into that. We're going to talk about the RPO struggle. We're going to talk about the offensive line struggle. We'll talk about some of the ways that LSU can get this thing right, because by the stats, by the numbers, by just the eyeball test, LSU seems to be struggling in all categories offensively. If you look at some of the efficiency marks and columns, I mean, they're last behind Vanderbilt in some of the offensive stats.
Some of the advanced stats are jarring as to what LSU has done, and I do hold out hope that maybe old Pete has kept a couple things up his sleeve. Thought he could, got kind of shell-shocked by UCLA. McNeese, we don't have to show anything. Central Michigan might have to show a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't help that we have our own head coach telling you what we're going to do. But I'm sure Jake Peets might have a couple things up the sleeve. Is all I'm hoping for, just to look a little different. Doesn't help that everybody's hurt also. I mean,
You're
it's
so positive.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
mean,
nice.
you got to go. I mean, by Friday, you got to be rolling into Saturday with a little something,
Yeah.
I can't go to that thing upset. I can leave upset.
No, man. Once you get out there, you can't be upset
it
about
smells
it.
different.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just the
good.
best.
Everything's good. Sun's shining. Everybody's dressed up. Let's get in the stadium, watch some good football. When it starts to get bad, we get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Are you going out there?
No. No, I'm not going
All
to go out
that
there.
to say, I will not be at the game.
Because I will be locked into the 2:30 matchup of Florida and Alabama in the
you can
swamp.
do that.
You can do that there.
I'm going to watch Penn State and Auburn at 6:30, and I'm also going to have the second TV on at 6:30 here with LSU and obviously Central Michigan. Rohan's going to be here for the fourth quarter. Speaking of the postgame show, we are excited to announce Mid-Tap Brewery is going to be our host spot for our postgame show for the LSU Auburn game. All of the postgame shows are for sale. We are going to do them on site, would like to do them on site away from the UDL. So if you've got any interest, you can obviously email the crew, Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com, Katie at jordyculotta.show.com. Everybody's name is
Not
the
Lloyd.
prefix. No, stay away from it. And and obviously the suffix is at JordyCulottaShow.com. So very excited about that. Also very excited that we are approaching 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. So
close.
if you
For the
are
second time.
if you are out there, absolutely. If you are out there, please like, share, comment the post. That will put that in front of more people's eyeballs.
Get a friend to subscribe
So we
today.
can get more subscriptions out there, and we're going to do something special for 5,000. I don't know what it is, but hopefully
what
we'll
are we
hand
gonna
away
do?
some gear, hand away some
Tattoo.
we've got some tailgate gift cards to A-Bears that we can give away. Anything that we can do. We appreciate that everybody is out there and continuing to support what we do here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Before we get to the second hour, somebody was asking about the basketball depth chart real quick because of our conversation with Will Wade. So real quick, let me run down the roster here and just kind of give you an idea of how I see it going into the year. First off, Xavier Pinson, I think, is your starting point guard, and I think he has been a little bit better than people have expected here early on. At the 2, I think you'll have Adam Miller, who is obviously the transfer in from Illinois, and he is fantastic. Really kind of the leader of the program here early on. At the 3 spot, you're gonna have some options here. Obviously, with Darius Days coming back, he's going to be the leader, but there will be extreme depth there with Days now back in. You've got Sharif O'Neal that you can look at there. Obviously, he can play the power forward for you as well. Brandon Murray is a guy that I think you could look to log some time there with their size now. Even a guy like Mwani Wilkinson could step out and play that position. But at the 4, after your starting 3, I've got Xavier Pinson at the 1. I've got Adam Miller at the 2. Darius Days at the 3. At that power forward spot, I think you're going to see Tari Eason, who they absolutely love at LSU. I mean, you talk about a guy that really does a lot of the dirty work for you on both ends of the floor. Can clean up, offensive and defensive glass. Can guard the other team's best perimeter or post player. At Cincinnati, they didn't show off his skill. He can bring the ball up the floor. He can handle it and shoot it. So I think Tari Eason will be your 4. And then obviously Efton Reed, the big star, 5-star center from IMG Academy, will probably start off as your 5. And then behind that, we mentioned Sharif O'Neal. He can play a combination of the 3 and the 4. He's the best defensive rebounder that you had last year. So obviously they'll want him in an area where he can crash the glass. Alex Fudge is a guy that you heard Coach Wade talk about his athleticism. He can play the 3 or the 4. Jarrell Colbert is a guy that can play the 4 or the 5 for you. So they've got some versatility as far as their size goes. Mwani Wilkinson is another one I think is going to play a lot of time. I don't know if Justice Williams can crack it just yet. It'll still be interesting to see what they do with Justice Williams. I think that a red shirt is on the table, but it's possible for him to play. It's possible for him to crack the lineup here. He was a late start to school, obviously, with the late addition. So it will.
What are the redshirt rules for basketball? I know them for football. Are they similar?
Say it again.
What are the redshirt rules for basketball? Because I know the football ones where you can play in a certain amount of games and still be redshirted. Is basketball?
I don't know. I don't know the specifics.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics on it, but I'd imagine that it's something similar. That you don't have to totally bench the whole year.
Right.
That you can go through some type of playing period and still get your.
I'd imagine they do like a minute as
their
opposed
opportunity.
to quarters or
Right.
All
right, we will be back with the second hour here. We'll talk LSU football. We'll break it down coming up with Max Toscano, who's going to break down some of the concerns for this LSU football team through the first 2 weeks. Protections, lack of explosive plays, lack of RPO and play action. We'll ask him about what we expect to see from LSU offensively coming up here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by Go Chevrolet. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back in here to a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every day by ATVS Specialty Meats. Remember, if you're heading out to the campus tomorrow, doesn't matter, or tonight, if you're going to check out a high school football game, stop in and check out ATVS on Highway 73. That is in Geismar. I had this spelled out to me yesterday by a local Ascension Parish resident on some of the debate we were having on Highway 73, Gonzales, Geismar, Dutchtown. It is off the Highway 73 exit, which is in Geismar, right there in the Dutchtown Shopping Center in Ascension Parish. Check out ATVS Specialty Meats. No longer over here on Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge.
Such a bummer.
It is a bummer.
We got to get them back over here.
It is
somewhere.
a bummer. We are looking for another location in Baton Rouge. When that is ready to open up, we will let you know. Of course, that's Mr. Pearson's shopping center over there, which is Pearson's Luggage. I think Oshner was about to move.
Oh,
in
really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, they got big wigs.
Breaking news.
They got big
You
wigs.
did just break that.
Breaking a little real estate news here on the Jordy
I don't
Culotta
want any
Show.
mortgage information, but for all your real estate needs.
That's when you thought you were here for sports only. Heads up on Jefferson Highway, Oshner Medical.
Watch out for
Coming
those
your way.
cones. They're coming in.
Speaking of a heads up, and the Valley Shook's been doing a tremendous job of breaking down the lack of efficiency from the LSU offense. Max Toscano has been doing really good work. Lloyd tipped me off on this earlier this week and said, heads up, man. This guy's really diving into the weeds here and picking out some stuff on LSU on why they're struggling in protection, lack of explosive plays. The RPO doesn't exist, it seems like, through the first couple of weeks for LSU offensively. So what the hell is going on? Max Toscano is here to explain it to us here on this Friday morning. Max, thanks for joining us, man. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Big fan of the show. It's it's a little tough to watch because offense nowadays in the modern day really comes down to, a couple things. One, and that's that's taken pressure off your quarterback, whether that's processing pressure, in terms of difficult situations like obvious passing downs where the defense can change the picture on you and bring pressure, and that's taking pressure off of your offensive line. Now, LSU philosophically is sort of in a place that teams in the Big 12 were in the mid 2010s. So their entire offense is pretty much predicated upon the notion that we are going to spread you out as much as possible, create as much space as possible, and leave as few guys in their protection as possible so that we can maximize our passing options. Now, it's theoretically sound. I mean, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the problem is the constraint on the defenses back in those days was that you could not really effectively defend the run with 5 men in the box. That has changed. Teams has figured it out. So you can now allocate allocate resources to the passing game defensively and take these things away without having to worry about your empty box counts. So LSU is now kind of stuck in these empty box situations, dropping back, not moving defenders with play action or not putting defenders in conflict with RPOs, and that helps your quarterback process a lot. That makes his reads a lot easier. It slows the game down. It slows the pass rush down. So they're really just they're just protecting with empty. Like, they are in 5-man protections. They'll occasionally leave a back in for the 6th guy. And, this is not an offensive line that is good enough to hold up in empty protections, clearly even against sketchy teams. Like, they were giving up 3 rushers against McNeese.
Yeah.
I mean, so they kind of need to have an honest conversation about where their offensive line's at and, how they can generate explosive plays. Like, they are really remanded at this point just to throwing the quick game because they're not putting more guys into protection, and their solution seems to be, we'll just get the ball out quicker. Well, look, people are going to creep their DBs up, and they are going to take that underneath stuff, and they are going to dare you to throw vertically, and if you can't protect it, then you're not going to be able to get the ball off.
Ed Ogeron routinely is asked about his offense, and in the offseason, he would say that he wants to bring back the Joe Brady offense. I've only heard one person ask and press him on what that is. Brock Heward pregame for Fox asked him on the UCLA LSU coverage, what does that mean? And you could tell he was kind of struggling,
a little flummoxed,
to really explain what the Joe Brady offense means. He said, just spread them out. What is the Joe Brady offense? Explain to our listener base what LSU is trying to do. What are they setting out to do offensively?
Well, the Joe Brady offense is just a hyper spread version of what the Saints do. So it's basically like almost all of the same, pass concepts, but instead of the, multiple personnel stuff that Sean Payton has to do because he's in the NFL, and if you protect with empty in the NFL every single snap, you're going to get your quarterback killed, and Drew Brees isn't a good enough athlete to kind of deal with those free rushers that well. But so it's, it's all the same passing concepts, and it's just Saints concepts with, 2015 TCU personnel groupings, like air raid kind of personnel groupings. And it's sound if you have a quarterback that you don't have to help in processing. Like, you have a guy that can go out there and just straight drop and not have to worry about, moving defenders with play action because he's just so sharp, like Joe Burrow, for instance. And you have to have a guy that is able to deal with pressure and is able to evade free rushers and reactive enough and spatially aware enough to kind of create space in the pocket and extend the plays when they need to. And that puts a world of pressure on your quarterback. Like, you are demanding in these kinds of offenses, at least in the modern day, given how defenses can take it away, you are demanding that your quarterback be perfect on a down-to-down basis. It's like you're treating everything like 3rd and 10, and the defenses know that. Everything becomes 3rd and 10, and that's a difficult situation for any quarterback to operate in. But the Joe Brady offense is really just, a repackaging of the Saints offense with kind of college personnel groupings. If you look at the NFL, what he's doing in Carolina it's pretty much just the Saints offense, like without even that college carve out. But what they're, I would have problems with them running the Joe Brady offense because of the protection structure, because it, like this offense, is, empty protections, empty protections, empty protections, and they can't hold up in that. But, like, they're still not doing a lot of the things that they did in 2019 schematically that worked. Like, they generated a lot of explosive plays off those, 9-8-9 doubles concepts where you'd have the two outside receivers run a vertical read, which means, like, if they can get deep on their corner, they're going to keep going. But if the corner gets vertical leverage on them, they'll run a stop route.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the Bengals do it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what the Bengals scored their touchdown on. So they would run play action. They wouldn't protect with 7 in 2019 because they didn't have to, because Joe Burrow was just so sharp. But I think Joe Brady is willing to do that. Like, we've seen that in Carolina, and they used a lot of RPOs to punish teams for bringing that extra safety down occasionally. Like, they would run these X glance RPOs, which means like the receiver to the boundary, which was Jamar Chase at all times. He runs, this 8-step skinny post, and the quarterback is reading the safety. So you would see Joe Burrow, mesh with the running back, keep his eyes on that safety, and that safety rotates down into a linebacker spot, to fit the run, and he'll just throw that post behind him. I haven't seen that yet. It's not like you don't have an alpha X receiver in Kayshon Boutte. Like, he can win on those routes. So what do I think running the Joe Brady offense as constructed would work? Not necessarily, because I think Max Johnson would be in the dirt the whole time. But, like, even then, they're not even really necessarily doing it. Like, they're just throwing, these double, triple slant concepts, their levels concepts, their stick concepts, like all of their quick and intermediate concepts, and that's pretty much it. Like, they have no ability whatsoever to throw the ball over the top because they just can't protect it with 5 and 6.
You mentioned the quarterback having to process all this information. There's been a lot of gruff about the check with me. Is that Jake Peetz almost trying to overmanage and make sure that they're in the correct call all of the time, which is what Ed Orgeron said, where he's like, we're trying to be perfect. Would it almost be easier to, I hate to say this, but simplify it even more to where they just get to the line, run the play, and let's kind of keep this thing moving?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with check with knees. I mean, like, pretty much every school runs them. So if you can't communicate them, you've kind of got a communication problem. But, like, I mean, I would rather do that than have Max Johnson, on top of all of the stuff he has to deal with, have to start calling out protections like an NFL quarterback. Like, they're already treating him like an NFL quarterback, and the fact that he has to just drop back and process in these straight drop back, no defenders being moved by play action situations.
Or motion.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Who's that?
Second, guys.
Hello.
Who goes there?
Hodor. What's happening?
Sorry about that, guys. I'm home from school this week because they locked down because of COVID cases. So I bounced for the week, and my mom just brought me a nice coffee. So that was nice.
That's awesome.
Special delivery.
Tell her more meatloaf, for God's sakes.
Hey, that's coming.
So it looks like they want to run hurry up this weekend. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I'm definitely okay with that. I don't think it's going to save you because, like, hurry up is great, but, like, hurry up doesn't block. So, I mean,
true, man. That's true.
But it is a good way to keep the defense off balance. It is a good way to kind of stop them from, adjusting to your personnel sets. But LSU isn't really that multiple in personnel sets, so I think they're going to be fine not subbing. But, like, it's not the solution. Like, I don't think LSU should see their problems over the past couple weeks and say, look, we're going to run hurry up and this is going to be fine. Mm-hmm. But, it's not something that necessarily hurts. It's also pretty easy to do in the modern day. Like, people have done it for so long. They've figured out how to do it pretty seamlessly. So, look, I'm in favor of it. I'm definitely in favor of trying it out. But, like, if they think that's going to save them, man, they've got another thing coming, because the speed you go does not really block for you.
So do all the problems just stem from the fact that the offensive line isn't good enough? You can't run the ball, therefore you can't play action, therefore you can't get protection, therefore you have the defense collapsing on literally everything that they're looking at because there's no threat of a run game, so there's no play action to go over the top. Is this almost unfixable because the offensive line is so bad, or is there a way to scheme around that?
There are ways to scheme around that. Now, there are not ways to scheme around that will block Alabama or Texas A&M, but there are ways to scheme around it that will help
Central
you deal
Michigan.
with everybody else on your schedule. So you look at Ole Miss. Like, Ole Miss's offensive line is not necessarily anything to write home about. Like, they don't have I mean, LSU's offensive line in terms of talent is more highly recruited, but they're using a lot of 7-man protections. They're using a lot of, play action. So play action will stop defenses and the threat of a run game. Not necessarily even just like a great run game, just a present one will stop defenses from, calling sim pressures and blitz packages on early downs, which helps you in protections a lot because it's way easier to account for guys. Leaving a tight end and a back end to protect helps, 7 men in the protection is better than 5. So they do all that kind of stuff. They move defenders with, their run action, and they're using a lot of RPOs. So they are, RPOs no longer are just tag one pass route onto, your run scheme and punish the defense for bringing the extra guy in the box. Like, they are, look, you have, this quick game concept to one side. Like, it's usually 2 or 3 men out in a concept total. We'll have, this 2-man route to one side and, some guy running, that X glance I was talking about, and you just pick pre-snap based on the safety shell, which, you're going to read, and you have a key defender at that point who you read, give, or pass at that point. Right. But, like, you could basically go one of, like, 4 places with the ball pre-snap. So that takes a lot of pressure off because you're putting these guys in run-pass conflict at all times. So that eases up your run game. But the fact that they can't generate explosive plays, and are only able to run, these quick game drop back concepts, like, man, people are going to stop that. They're either going to drop 8, like teams do against Mississippi State, and clog those underneath passing windows, or, they're going to press those corners up, and they're going to start, turning those into 3-4 yard gains where you can't run after the catch. At which point, like, you're going to end up in 3rd and 7 pretty frequently. And, at that point, you do have to protect with 5 or 6 because you have to get guys out in the concept on 3rd and 8. And at that point, the quarterback's going down. So, like, it really does mostly come back to the fact that the offensive line just can't cut it, and they're treating it like it can. Like, they are if you're going to be in empty protections as much as LSU does, you better have the best offensive line in the country.
Or the best quarterback in the country.
Max, thank you very much, man. This was good stuff. Let's do this again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm down to do that.
Thank you, buddy. See you, bud. There is Max Toscano checking in from And the Valley Shook, talking a little bit about LSU and their offense. That conversation is brought to you by GoFlow IV Health and Spa. They are located here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. They are Baton Rouge's premier medical spa, which specializes in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. If you're heading out to LSU tomorrow, you should probably go in there and get you a little cocktail cooked up from GoFlow IV Spa Health and Wellness. Easy to get to them online, goflowiv.com. In fact, if you're a member, you are the benefits over there, but they do offer memberships, 3-month, 6-month, annual packages that get you a couple of shots per month as a member. Membership includes a free treatment of the basics once per month and 50% off any upgrades and cocktails over at GoFlow IV. GoFlow IV Health and Wellness is the medical spa over there on Jefferson Highway. GoFlowIV.com. What are you laughing at?
The comments
yes.
in the bunker.
Comments
Y'all
are good.
are killing me. This is amazing.
Did it just turn into an old school?
Yes.
or Wedding Crashers, I'm sorry.
Old school.
Y'all are so
Wedding
mean.
Crashers.
That's so funny.
Anything different, they're not going to like. They're not gonna like it. They're not gonna
Thanks
like
a lot, Lloyd.
What, did they not get any new information? God forbid you learn something
Put that one on
today.
Lloyd.
God forbid you learn a little bit about
Oh my
football.
God.
Do you not think that was a good segment? Do you not know more about what LSU football is
Is he
doing?
actually a student in school, though?
I have
Has
no
to be.
clue.
He's home from
I mean, he
school.
went home from school.
I thought he was going to say, like, hey, it's a kid knocking on the door. I got a kid here.
No,
from
he's probably
school.
28
He
years
was like,
old
"Oh,
or
it's my
25. I
mom."
don't know. But do you not feel like you learned something today?
Yes, yes.
Like, shove it. And by the way,
The
It
iced
was
coffee.
funny.
it was great. And I will, I will offer my services on Saturday. Oh God, to get a GoFlow IV and see if I'm hungover on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'll go get a
You'll
GoFlow
take one
IV.
for the team and
I'll
get
take one
take
for
a
the team
needle.
and let them know how much it works already. 1 out of 10.
All right. all
No
right.
go
Segment
flow
was
for
that-
you, buddy.
I need it. You're hogging it all with your red wine syndrome.
Oof.
The red wedding. The man's
It's
vomiting.
going half
just
and half tea
acid.
tomorrow on them.
God.
Benjamin Mintz is up in New York City. They're doing great things for Hurricane Ida. If you have not seen the T-shirt, we retweeted it over on the Jordy Culotta Show page. If not, get over to Mintzy's Twitter account. All over social media. We talked to Megan Making Money here yesterday morning. She liked the Washington football team last night. Off to a bad start at the -3 and a hook there. But Benjamin, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good. I appreciate y'all sharing that.
Yes.
Shirts. I thought we had an awesome. I mean, I thought they'd do pretty well, but I mean, we really lit it up yesterday, and I really appreciate y'all supporting it. And I love. We got black and gold ones and white and purple and white ones. Y'all can figure out that. I'm pretty sure easily being in Louisiana. But the Back to Boot shirt's off to a great start. I got a lot of messages with people with pictures and receipts, and somebody even bought 10 of them, which I
Wow.
love seeing.
Love that.
So and all the money's going to the United Way, Hurricane Ida relief to hit the most damaged areas in southeast Louisiana. So really, really excited about it, and I feel like I'm. At Barstool representing Louisiana, and who am I to not use this platform to try to help out the home state? So I'm glad to get to do it. And big shout out to Megan, too.
Always appreciate the representation, Mintzy, for the state of Louisiana and how you fly the flag for us up there at Barstool. Did you see the Barstool touch on this week's LSU highlight video or hype up video?
I did. Well, yeah, Big Cat and PFT on the highlight video. And Pardon My Take has such a great relationship with LSU. And that actually kind of was a little bit a part of when I got hired was Big Cat knew your old partner, Derek Velasquez, and a few other guys that he actually called about me when they were looking at hiring me because of Pardon My Take's LSU relationship. And that was actually kind of part of how I got to Barstool. Just kind of full circle.
It was. And speaking of Barstool, the content that you have been producing this week has been just incredible, bro. I mean, Lloyd is concerned about you with the shot caller. But all in all, I mean, just getting back into shape and content gold, bro. What's the last week been like?
Oh, man, it's every day. I wish there was 36 hours in a day. There's just the thing with Barstool, you don't do one thing, you do 10, 12 things. So, I've been juggling, trying to get those shirts out, doing the Billy stuff, writing blogs, Pick Central every day. We're in the middle of the Fantasy Football Factory podcast. We actually had Phil Helmy, 15-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, on the poker podcast this week. I mean, it's a lot. This is a funny one. Got approached, so I'm flying to Miami next Monday afternoon to be
Old habits die hard.
to be in a Hooters commercial.
Oh, serpentine, son.
Kidding me? Man,
Yeah.
what a
amazing.
land. I mean, that's got to be the biggest gig you've got since you've been there, right?
I can't. It just all. I mean, I was in the part. Well, also earlier this week, I was in a Pardon My Take commercial for Muggsy Jeans. We shot in Staten Island. So
Muggsy
I don't
Jeans.
know, man. This job's just out of hand. I mean, it's just every day. It's a new thing, and just getting excited for football this weekend. And then also, I'm hearing momentum from Louisiana on the sports books opening up here
Yes.
soon. I know they're shooting for October, but I've been hearing through my sources they're trying to get this thing done in the next few weeks, and so that's exciting too. So it's a lot to keep up with, and we're doing the best we can. And also want to mention what a time for me being the Saints and Ole Miss person at Barstool of how both of these teams are looking. So that's exciting too.
Mintzy, Ole Miss right now. I mean, do you buy this defense? Do you buy this offensive line? I mean, are they a top 20 team like the polls say they are?
I think so. I'm not, I believe so. Well, here's the thing. Ole Miss never really has a good offensive line. That's kind of been a problem for a while. But last year they led the SEC in rushing, like 275 yards a game. I mean, we've got a good O-line now. And then Chance Campbell, the Maryland transfer linebacker. This is part of this new transfer world we live in. You can get these you can rebuild a little quicker because you can get these quick fixes. But, dude, he averaged 11 tackles a game in the Big Ten last year. Man, just watching him on the field, he's just a monster difference maker. I mean, you can just tell he's a leader. He shut down Lee Cunningham's spine on him the Louisville game. I mean, obviously Austin Peay's not good, so that was kind of a bye week. But, boy, these Tulane fans up in my mentions on Twitter, lots of noise. The Tulane fans talking a lot of smack to me, and I got to be honest, I think they're barking up the wrong tree on this game on Saturday night.
Really? Really? Fireworks, right? Offensive fireworks expected?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't see how they're gonna stop Ole Miss. I just don't see where. I mean, I think Ole Miss will get a few stops. I do. I mean, I do like the Pratt kid, the quarterback from Boca Raton, and I love Willie Fritz. And Tulane's breaking out the old school greeny helmets with the 3 SEC titles on the decals, which I think is pretty cool. But Kiffin's saying all the right things. He says Tulane's an SEC team. Ole Miss is a bye week behind this before Bama. Coming off Austin Peay, I think you're going to get a big-time Rebel effort on Saturday night. So that actually is a great way to start it. I'll take Ole Miss minus 14, my first pick.
Wow. Ole Miss minus 2 touchdowns in Oxford as the first of the 6-pack. Mincy, real quick, we were 3-3 in the opening weekend.
Yeah, we're 6-6 overall.
So we're 6-6. We're right at 500, and our first play of the weekend is Tulane minus 14. Katie, you in the document?
Ole Miss minus 14.
I got it. I'm on it.
Let's make sure we're writing these down. First play of the weekend is Ole Miss at home in the Grove, hosting Tulane, the Green Wave. This is going to be on ESPN. This will be a nationally televised game on ESPN2 tomorrow night as Tulane visits Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, two of the brightest offensive minds when you talk about Willie Fritz for the Greenies, and, of course, Lane Kiffin, who's probably the most skilled play caller in football at home tomorrow night. So the first play, minus 14, the Rebs getting it. Where are we going next?
Next, we're going to Norman, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Man, remember when Oklahoma and Nebraska, when we were kids, Jordy, and this was just like the game of the year in college football? I mean, this used to just be such a big thing. Yeah. And now I love it. Oklahoma's laying 22, and I love it. They're going to beat them within an inch of their life. Yeah. Because the thing with Nebraska, they're a doormat now, but they still got the N on their helmet. And Oklahoma and Nebraska is such an old school rivalry. Oklahoma's always going to get up for this. And Oklahoma, they got a bad taste in their mouth still, I think, from that second half against Tulane. They were up 37-14 at a half. Tulane played an awesome second half, but Oklahoma also kind of got a little lackadaisical, took their feet off the gas. They killed the bad, at FCS Western Carolina last week. But I think Oklahoma comes out and just demolishes Nebraska, and I don't think 22 is near enough. I think it's ugly.
You good, Mincy? You got sniped there in the middle of that one.
Did I?
Oklahoma, minus 22. Ole Miss, minus 14. First 2 plays. Where are we headed next?
Next, we're going to Happy Valley. Whiteout, Auburn, Penn State. What an interesting one this is. I mean, just like Penn State had the big win week 1 at Wisconsin. Auburn's blown out 2 cream puffs, so we don't know anything about Brian Harsin or them. But both teams are going to try to run the football. I don't love Bo Nix or Clifford at quarterback. So we're going the traditional first half unders that have been hitting. They hit again with ULL last night.
Yes, saw that.
I mean, I need to go through the stats. I think I'm 10 or 11-1 so far with them this year. I mean, it's like out of control. So I'm taking under 26.5. I think Auburn Penn State's going to be lower scoring early. So
under 26.5 at Penn State. First half. Mincy, have you never been to Happy Valley, have you?
I have not.
Okay. Because I hear that's a must visit on a Saturday night for college football.
Well, what's interesting, they're 8-8 in their last 16 whiteout games, which is like their big thing. But they do it against like Ohio State a lot, like good teams. But the other thing, I saw a stat Peter Burns posted: when SEC and Big Ten teams play that are both top 25 in the regular season, the SEC's 8-1-1 in the last 10.
Got an Auburn inkling.
I feel it does feel like an Auburn. It kind of feels like James Franklin's looking at that USC job too this week. He's been asked about it a lot. I want to get your thoughts on that SC job before we get out of here. But that was the third play. in Happy Valley under the 26.5 in the first half under. Where to next?
All right, we're going to the NFL. The system we always laugh about that I've been doing for years, going back to 2017 when we started this, but I've been doing it for a lot longer. There's 2 of them this week. You always cringe when you put them in, but Jacksonville lost. It looked horrible as a road favorite. Houston last week, they're catching 6 at home against Denver. You lose on the road as a road favorite, then you're home underdog. I just take you. It's what I do. So I've got Jacksonville +6, and then is one of them. And then the next one is Baltimore losing on the road as a road favorite Monday night at Vegas. Now they're catching 4 at home against KC. I never bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this hurts this hurts. But I always trust the system. It's made me a lot of money for 20, 25 years. And so we're sticking with it. And also want to mention on the KC
He's 10.
That's a long time.
Yeah, I started betting on football. I was like 14 or 15. Anyway, gamble responsibly. I'm sorry.
That's right.
But the thing is, KC, Jordy, this is one of the craziest stats I've ever heard. They're 8-1 in their last 9 games, and they're 1-8 against the spread.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
They win and don't cover like crazy. So I'm going to tell you, that's a wild stat.
So Baltimore at home this weekend, home
Sunday night,
dog Sunday night, and then
+4.
Denver traveling nearly across the country to Jacksonville, with Jacksonville catching 6.
Yep,
at home.
2 underdogs
On Sunday. Mintz, what do you make about? So there's your 6-pack. If we want to recap them real quick.
I got one left. I got
Okay.
one total left.
What you got?
I'm going over 44.5 in Saints Carolina. I know Saints played the 38-3 under last week, and Carolina was 19-14. But Saints Panthers games kind of historically get a little wilder when you look at that series. And Sam Darnold and Jameis Winston, I think they're both over as quarterbacks because we might see some turnovers too. And that kind of makes it a little wilder. But I think this 44.5 is pretty low. And also the Saints thing, what an effort last week. But no Davenport, no Lattimore. You're missing 2 of your key defensive starters. I don't necessarily love that.
Okay, so recap them, Mincy, for me.
All right. Oklahoma -22.5 against Nebraska. Ole Miss -14 against Tulane. Auburn, Penn State, first half under 26.5. Jacksonville +6 at home against Denver. Baltimore +4 at home against KC. Over 44.5.
Mincy Project.
Carolina. 6-pack.
Mincy, what do you make of Alabama being favored for the 83rd straight weekend, going into the Swamp, -2 touchdowns?
I'm not surprised. I couldn't figure this one out. I normally just, I obviously would lean Bama if anybody. It's interesting to see what Dan Mullen's doing with that quarterback thing, because Emory Jones hadn't shown me a damn thing since he's been on campus. Nothing. And the Richardson kid, has over 300 yards rushing in 2 games. He's a freshman, but he's 6'4", 230, looks the part, looks like the future. I'm real curious, maybe Mullen's holding it back, not wanting to start a true freshman against Bama. I'm real curious how he's going to manage that situation. But I would lean Bama if anyone. Nobody really makes money betting against them long term, but I'm probably going to just chill on that one.
Mintz, the video of you running the suicides at the basketball park, getting shot collared is an all timer, bro. What did Portnoy? He had to give you a raise after this.
Oh man, Dave. I saw Dave in the office twice yesterday. He didn't bring that up. Dave made a really funny comment.
Keep running.
I told him, I was
Keep
like,
running. We
we're
shot you
launching
again.
relief shirts in Louisiana. He's like, all you do is support charity in Louisiana. And I'm like, man, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of needs down there. What do you want to do? But it was just really. But he said it like he didn't say it like it back. He said it. I know. He said it mess with me.
It's
Dave
good,
supports Los Louisiana. But the next shirt I've got. The next shirt that's coming out is going to make money for Barstool.
It needs to be
an
you with a shot collar.
It's gotta be.
It does.
I got an Ole Miss one that I think is going to be awesome. That's coming out early a bit next week. That I think people are going to the Rebel fans are going to love. So,
what's the live music scene like? Any update?
Man, so My Morning Jacket rocked last Friday in Forest Hills. I'm taking a little break for the next few weeks, man. This 7-day-a-week thing. Even going to a concert
for the birds,
Friday night.
Yes.
Oh, must be.
Yeah, no, it is.
No, but the show thing, I'm going to probably, the next one I'm going to do Humphreys McGee Bowl early October at the Capitol Theater's the next one, but I'm kind of, the guys from Flow Tribe in New Orleans are up here tonight. They're trying to get me to come. I like those guys, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing up with work.
It's a good time.
I know. I like those guys, too. They're Barstool fans. I've hung out with them before, so we'll see. I mean, if I got a wild hair.
Yeah, don't close the door on it just yet.
No, that's
Don't
true.
close the door on it just yet.
Content.
Our buddy Brock Lee saw my morning jacket the other night in Atlanta and was raving. I know you saw the text messages from him, so it looks like they're touring the country and entertaining. Have a great weekend. Enjoy football, buddy.
Hey, one other thing, Jordy.
Yes,
I want to
yes.
mention this. I got to mention this, and I normally don't get involved in the muck beef stuff, but a certain
yes, Mintz.
yeah, this has got to be mentioned. So,
Yes.
certain LSU SB Nation writer on Twitter came at Barstool yesterday for LSU football, having Big Cat and PFT narrate, and just like tried to call out Barstool on some stuff which are false allegations. And to that certain person that I'm sure y'all know who I'm talking about, go crawl back into your hole. SB Nation's not relevant. Nobody gives a damn about y'all anymore. And I know you're just trying to bring up and flame Barstool to just try to stay relevant. I find it very ironic that you're trying to flame Barstool the day we launch Hurricane Ida relief shirts in Louisiana. I don't see you doing a damn thing about it. And that's all.
Mintzy with the mic drop, baby. Enjoy the weekend.
That one really, he triggered me on that.
Yes.
So he's, but anyway. All right, thank y'all.
Have a great weekend, brother.
Bye.
All right.
That's like the
know
girl
what it
running
takes
across
to-
the stage at the last minute, taking her bra off. Like,
Yeah.
get it in right
One
before
more
you end
thing.
it. Yeah, one more thing. I know this isn't going to be popular, but
Do you know what it takes to make Mintzy mad?
a lot.
A lot.
Obviously, a slight on social media.
Company man.
Damn.
That's right.
Man is getting electrocuted for the team.
God, that content's unbelievable.
I'm going to be the biggest Tulane fan this weekend that Tulane has ever seen.
Roll wave.
Yes! Get me a helmet.
Roll wave.
Need to get the helmet, dude.
Get me a helmet.
Daily, we're brought to you here on the Jordy Culotta Show by Advanaclean. Shout out to Bradley Lynch and his crew over at Advanaclean, as they've got a ton of work happening right now down in New Orleans. In fact, helping out Kelly this morning down in her house. So they got work down in New Orleans. Remember, if you need anything done with water, fire, or mold damage, get in touch with Bradley Lynch over at Advanaclean. ADVANTA clean.com. Advanaclean is online. They're located in an industrialplex right here in Baton Rouge, and Bradley Lynch has got great experience. Let him help you out with water, fire, mold damage today. Online at advanaclean.com. That is ADVANTA clean.com. Advanaclean. Find them today to get the water, fire, and mold damage out of your house, out of your office immediately. Great stuff. Good last 30 minutes there. Max Toscano breaking down LSU football. Our own LSU football analyst in-house here who lives with his mother and takes his coffee iced every morning at 8:15 with a double
Still
knock.
talking about it in the bunker.
They should be.
Still railing on poor Max.
They should be.
Well, I love that he
I don't
works-
know what happened to Mintz mid-segment there. I don't know if he inhaled.
He doesn't know.
Yeah,
It's like a
it
big
sounded
hiccup.
like he just, it was a hiccup. And I mean,
And
we
he didn't
asked
even
him about
realize
it. He was like, oh, I did?
Everything's coming out of his body.
Yes, you did. For God's sakes, we're live, buddy.
Oh.
I mean, it was almost like a,
Yeah.
it was,
Like a shock.
yeah.
He might have been wearing the collar.
Maybe so.
Don't say it
He didn't
again.
even know he still had it on.
They made
What
him
a
make-
trained soldier.
They made him make a list of his cheat meals. I've got a picture. And
Really?
he's writing them down. Yeah, that's what the suicides are
I want
for.
to know what the cheat meals are.
He's got a list. I'm about to put it up on the screen.
Do y'all
So
have a cheat
good.
meal? You probably have a cheat meal, Lloyd. You
Yeah,
weirdo.
Lloyd does. For as vain
With
as
your
he
body
is.
dysmorphia.
Yeah, no. Then I
What's
gotta
your
go throw
cheat
it up
meal?
right after.
I know.
You know what?
What
Take
do
on
you
my
actually-
strategy, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
What do you binge and then?
You know what it
purge?
actually is, and it's sad to say it. It's so cliche. It's like a Cane's. Like I'm
Okay.
like, because I never have it, and when
Yeah.
I see it, and it's got that certain panache to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you smell it, you have to have it.
Yeah.
And there's one right next to where I live with my parents, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna get it like a Monday or a Tuesday. If it's
How do you
been
take your canes? What's
no
your
salt,
order?
No salt, extra fries, extra sauce.
Okay. No bread?
I get the bread.
You
but
eat
no
the bread?
slaw.
You
yeah.
eat the bread.
Okay,
Or
this
you
is,
just stare at
okay.
it.
If we're ready to get
You
into
just put
it,
it in your face and
Yeah.
inhale it, and then
I do it like White Goodman, where
Pour
I
dish
put
soap all
something,
over it.
I put it on my nipples, and I shock myself every time I touch it, like
Sound like
dodgeball. Yeah, but I do. Last,
Can we read what Mitzi's cheat meals are
No,
here?
you
Yeah,
can't
No,
see
you
it.
can't see it.
Can't
But
see
he
that.
he's making
I mean,
a
you
list.
can see it if you get close enough, I guess.
Yeah,
I
we can
can't.
zoom. Let's zoom. But I do for the last strip. I save the toast. I put French fries on the
Yeah,
bottom.
there you go.
Make a little base. Tender. and then sauce and
Wow.
dunk, and then it's like,
God,
Like a
I bet
taco.
you feel
yeah, I mean,
so guilty.
gross, dude.
I bet you do.
You
I bet
feel
you're
so
crying the whole
guilty.
time
Lloyd's
you're
probably
eating it.
curled up in his bed
I go,
crying.
I
He
take my
is.
shirt off, then I go look in the mirror. I'm like,
I
what
bet
have
you
you done?
bastard.
You eat it with no clothes on.
I
in the
hate
mirror.
you.
Just put my finger in my
I
belly
hate you,
button.
man.
Like, these pants aren't gonna fit tomorrow.
I'm a fry on the sandwich guy.
So good.
It's so good.
The Monty Bros?
On a cane sandwich,
On a
you mean, or
cane
any
sandwich.
sandwich? Okay.
Yeah, but
cane
any sandwich.
Oh, really?
But any sandwich.
Such a
Okay.
treat.
Chips on a sandwich,
Yes.
fries on the
yeah,
sandwich.
chips on a sandwich. I've never done fries
I just
on a
need the
sandwich.
crunch.
It's just, yeah, really, it's just satisfying.
First time ever I've ever done this. Earlier this week, Kelly and I took Jay.
Left your family at brunch? Is that
No.
Done
Kelly
that
and
plenty.
I took Jay to get something to eat. He was out of school. We were quarantining. And we went to a local po' boy joint here in town. And we sat at the bar. There was 3 of us. The person next to us at the bar gets up from their meal and did not touch their fries. Didn't touch them.
Okay.
Like it was a basket of fries
Yeah.
that we saw it get placed down.
Right.
And the guy didn't eat them. We were starving, bro. Like starving.
How long have
Hadn't
y'all
eaten.
been there?
We'd been there for a while. So this is actually not this week. This is not during quarantine. This was because of the storm. Little Jay was out of school. So this was 2 weeks ago. So everybody was looking for fresh, hot meals. Everybody had found
I
one.
know what's coming.
The line was long. The wait was long. The guy next to us gets up and leaves with a fresh batch of fries right there. And I look at Kel, give her the nudge, and said, slide them over. Let's put some ketchup on them and just start eating.
They're ours now.
And they're ours. And she kind of gave me the look like, should we? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And we sat there and cleaned the basket out.
No charge for the fries. Like, they don't.
No
like,
charge for the fries. They were next to us at the table. And the guy never touched them. For whatever reason, he didn't touch the fries. And it was a fresh batch of fries on a starving stomach. And for the first time in my life, I took somebody's food off of their table. We were sitting at a bar, so really they were sitting next to us.
How sure were you that
I
he was
just slid
gone?
over it. I was sure. Because he was with a partner.
I mean, I hate to dovetail off this story. I've done something similar. Sean and I both went to a wedding, and we stayed in a hotel, obviously, like with the parents. It's a cousin wedding, whatever. We come back at like 1:30, 2 a.m., and there's an extra, somebody had ordered room service, but they didn't eat it all. And we made the decision
That's
that
ballsy.
Lord,
that
no.
we-
Now
that was in their hotel
that's a
room.
hell of a move.
this is pre-COVID.
That's a hell of
It
a
doesn't
move right
matter.
there.
Yeah,
No, that
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Well, you did. I mean, we ate it. It was awesome. Still
I'm
kind
sure it
of
was.
warm.
I'm sure it was.
But there's, I mean, the
Still
line,
kind of
the line of the delineation had been crossed. If you put that outside your room,
You're done with it.
you're not eating it anymore.
have
And
no
there was so,
idea.
You got no
there was so
idea.
much left. It's like, I don't know if you even really
They
ate
could have
it.
eaten that in the bathtub.
That would be
like-
awesome. I would love to do that.
No, they could have.
That's fine.
And then put it outside, and then
They
you
didn't
ate
dip it
their
in the water.
bathtub. I know, but still.
They wiped their towel with it.
God.
If this guy's hanging out in the bathtub eating French fries and a hamburger,
Yeah.
I want to be his best friend.
Why not?
So I'll definitely eat after that guy because I feel like I know him.
All right, we're going to come back and close out the week with Nathan Velasquez.
It's a good Nate. This is a Nate conversation too.
He's in it now.
Yeah.
George taking the eclair from the trash.
Yeah.
He's already in it.
Nathan, are you in it? Yeah, call us. Call my cell phone, Nathan.
Call us.
Call us right
I want
now.
to call you.
Let's see how this works.
Oh yeah, no, I can't say I've ever done either of those two things, nor would I.
Really? Even in that moment, starving, no power
Nope.
at home.
No.
Nope.
I mean,
Just
he could've,
starving
like,
for a hot meal.
Coughed on it when you weren't looking,
fucking
or like.
Yeah.
You don't strike me as the coughing, worrisome type. I mean, not on untouched fries.
No, I'm not doing it. Not doing it.
Really?
Not doing it.
I've
I
done
wouldn't do
the.
it.
I've also done that move at Plucker. Somebody left a boneless swing basket, and I'm a bone-in
Wow,
guy.
so you've done this multiple times.
I mean,
Damn, Lloyd.
when you live the life I
Are you
live,
outside like in my trash can?
when you live
Dumpster diving.
Yes. When you I have certain means that I can't
okay.
reach. Let's go.
He was
So you have to
listening.
scavenge a little bit, and if you leave 4 tenders in there, I'm gonna eat them.
Nate Dogg,
Been summoned through YouTube. That's cool.
what's your order at Cane's?
I go box combo, no slaw, extra sauce. I've
Okay.
never gone. I'll go the extra fry route. Sometimes I've never gone the extra
Toast.
I've never gone extra toast for some reason. Not sure why.
Do we notice the extra fries when we? Because I go extra fries too. Do they really put extra fries in there? Do they? Yes.
They do. They do. Yeah.
I feel like I notice it whenever I don't get extra fries.
Okay.
Like I feel like I need some more of these bad boys. Wait, now what's y'all's order of how you go? Because I go right, and I thought everyone did this until a few years ago. I thought everyone went for the toast first thing, dip it in the sauce.
Hey, I think that was a young Canes play. I'm kind of over the bread now.
Yeah, I only take a couple of
Really?
bites of the bread.
Yes, I think it's too buttered. If I'm being critical, and I look, I'm not talking about the fried food stuff. It just there's too much butter of a taste.
It's too unhealthy for me.
Right. I've got to stay away from the toast.
The fried chicken's fine, the French fries, but the butter on the bread.
Exactly.
I drink the sauce whole, but you know what I mean. I just can't eat the bread. Nate, are you getting on the subway or getting off the subway?
Oh, is it that noticeable? Is the wind that bad? Here, let me just
hop off the subway.
Hey guys, just move over for a second. Open these doors.
Bullying people in the subway.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Nathan, we were in Hollywood. Was fantastic. I've talked to you since then, since our trip out to UCLA, which it was great. The weather was fantastic. But I started to read some of the things around Christopher Nolan about all of the big time movie studios making a trip to his Hollywood home to pitch him on his next demands for his film. Where is Christopher Nolan at on his next flick?
So the thing that everyone knew for sure was he's leaving Warner Brothers, and that's big. He has only, other than his first very small indie movie, he's been since Memento with Warner Brothers. It's been one of those relationships where it's an incredible director partnered with a huge studio, and they just create this just a machine of content that everyone loves, makes tons of money, and gets critical reception. So Christopher Nolan is like a golden, I guess you could say golden child in Hollywood.
Yes, he's like the LeBron. He feels like the LeBron of Hollywood.
Yes, and the only thing everyone knew for sure was that he is leaving Warner Brothers. And the big thing was, is he going to go with streaming, or is he just going to go with another regular movie studio, one of the big players in Hollywood that's been established, one of the legacy players. So he went with Universal, and the biggest play for him is it's got to be in theaters. He's got take what happened with him and Warner Brothers in Tenet, just seen as a total slap in the face to not push for it to go wide everywhere. And that was a controversial thing because whenever that happened, it was happening in COVID. But I think the big reason was Warner Brothers announcing that movies going forward for the next year were going to be on HBO Max, the day-and-day release thing. Not just that, everyone that worked on all of those movies found out about that when everyone else heard the news. They heard about that in the announcement. And that was the thing, at least from what Christopher Nolan said publicly, that was like, totally unprofessional. I don't know what direction y'all are going in, but I don't like it. And so it was Netflix was making big plays. Apple TV apparently was making huge plays that were not being made public. But Universal won the day. And so I don't know if it says more about Christopher Nolan's future, because I feel like Christopher Nolan's going to continue to he's making a movie about the atomic bomb next. So yes. I think he's going to be fine pulling in the audience. I think it's what is going on with Warner Brothers, because if you talk about business and you talk about movie studios especially, we're not talking about, what's going to happen in a year. We're talking about 10 years from now, are people going to care? People love the brand name HBO. You want to watch a new show? We'll see what the pitch is. But if you cap it with, it's the newest HBO show, then it's like, okay, we'll pay attention now. You hear that Jordan Peele's production company is making a new movie. People are like, okay, we'll pay attention. Like there's no reason that Warner Brothers has to stay at the top of the hierarchy. And based on losing someone like Christopher Nolan should worry people that, like to pay attention to movie news and, the movie business, because it's a big change. It's a huge change.
Christopher Nolan, obviously behind Inception, The Dark Knight, Dunkirk, films like that. He's probably the most, as you put it, the most reliable filmmaker in Hollywood when you just overall think of him.
I think it's about, like, if you were talking about what is it that makes a great movie, you can't really fully quantify that. Like the whole, is that really the best picture of the year? Like it is everyone's opinion. But I think the closest that you could get to how you objectively define a good movie do critics love it? Do audiences love it at a degree that they will continue to go back to that movie and watch it year after year after year? And how often do they go to the theater to see these movies? Christopher Nolan is the only reliable person who will create original stories and be able to generate an audience over $1 billion every single time he creates one of his stories. And there's no one else that does that. The only person who can do that and sell a movie just with their name is, I would say, M. Night Shyamalan right now, but everyone kind of just laughs at him now. So it's, he's the only one that's respected like that. Like Christopher Nolan, they sell his movies for like Tenet. They sold Tenet a year and a half before it came out by literally showing one shot of the movie and then saying the new Christopher Nolan film. Like you do that a year and a half before because everyone's like, oh shit, mark your calendar for summer of 18 months from now.
Speaking of the business of Hollywood, there is something on the horizon this weekend with the biggest and most conservative union in Hollywood that could be going on strike this weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone, I'm pretty sure everyone, if it would remember the writer's strike that happened around the 2007, 2008 area, it caused a huge rift in Hollywood. It was a logistical disaster. They had to take half-baked scripts, poor ideas. There were stories of executives pitching their own scripts because they were not allowed to work with their own writers. But, if you remember that time, I was watching 24 at that time. The season of that writer's strike year was terrible, like so terrible. But everyone powered through. They put out content. What's happening here would be one of the largest strikes. This would be larger than that strike. And what would essentially happen, editors, cinematographers, almost everyone, if you see a behind-the-scenes photo of how a movie's made, almost everyone that would be in that photo would stop working. And they're voting this Sunday whether or not the union is going to support a strike taking place. So this Sunday is massive because if it does go through, if they vote that they'll support it going through and it happens, like Hollywood is going to be, I'm not being hyperbolic, at a literal standstill.
What movie are we breaking down today on the 5-Minute Critic?
It is Malignant, which came out last week. It is on HBO Max. It's also in theaters.
I watched it.
What did you think?
It was good. I thought it was
wild,
good.
Right?
It was wild. It was
different.
It's not what I expected, I guess.
It looks like a horror movie, and I guess it is. But if you're freaked out by horror movies to a degree where it's like, eesh, I'm not going near that. It is one of those, like, an hour in, you start going, what the fuck? For the rest of the movie. Yeah. For the rest of the movie. It is so wild. So look, I guess if you're really squeamish in horror movies, maybe think twice about going to see it. Everyone else watch it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But and also, yes, be ready to be like, oh my God, this is weird as hell.
It was very weird.
What would you compare it to?
I don't know what would I compare it to.
Yeah, I am not sure exactly what you would be able to. Something like this, I don't know. I would say, honestly, we talked about American Psycho a few weeks back. It's the same energy. It's not the plot. It works in the same world of the what the heck is going on here.
We got people coming in the studio. Sorry about that.
I was about to say someone loves American Psycho.
That wasn't it.
It's that same type of thing. It is the same level of you have to suspend your disbelief beyond. Like that's the level.
Have a great weekend, Nate. 5-Minute Critic. Follow him on YouTube, all over social media. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
There's Nathan Velasquez. We've got visitors here inside of the studio. We got phones going off. We're gonna reset. Sit down with the power, the faces. F3 Elite 7-on-7 is the talk of football off season. Every Friday night, Ro and I are at high school fields, and it feels like Ro's coaching the team. Not even the high school coaches. They get more love than some of the coaches do. They'll tell you all about what they got going on when we come back next here on the Jordy Culotta Show and break down the last breakdown of the weekend going into Saturday. It's a good football Saturday. We'll get some of the thoughts from our experts here, Rohan, Davey, and his crew, coming up next as we close out the Jordy Culotta Show here on this Friday.
Lord!
Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
About to call you out on that. Driving a beat. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show live on this Friday as we close out the week. Our football expert, Rohan Davey, is in the studio. He will be back here tomorrow. As we said, Ro and I will be at mid-tap coming up in the Auburn game for the post game. All of those post games are for sale. If you are looking and want us to be at your site for the post game, just let us know. We are easy to get in touch with.
Or fourth quarter, baby. Fourth quarter on, baby.
Fourth quarter on. We go live.
Liz, fourth quarter on, baby. We bringing the Liz and the whole crew, baby.
Yep.
Whole crew. Hey, and look. We'll sweeten it up, baby. We'll sweeten it up.
Uh-huh.
First two that sign up for the next two games, I might just do some jerk chicken.
Oh, that's right, the caterer.
Authentic.
You forget.
I might just do it for the party. I'm looking for the party to drop the jerk chicken and we drop the show and we come through and do our thing. Hey,
that you're making jerk.
It's on, baby.
From the South Florida native. Ken Anio is F3 Elite, along with Rohan. I tell you, Rohan and I have been talking about 7-on-7 for the last couple of weeks on just how influential that has become within high school football, within recruiting, and these guys right here have cornered the market, it seems like, in the state of Louisiana on 7-on-7. Their reputation speaks for itself. I'll tell you this, we go out to high school fields on Friday nights, and I see the respect that the players have for you guys, and I think it's a lot about like football. I mean, it's all about the player, who got the players, and it seems like everybody wants to be playing for F3. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Man. Likewise, appreciate you. Have
heard a lot of great things about you. Tell me from your point of view.
Hold on. Before you start, you had his name wrong.
Did I?
A man named F.A.
FA.
You know what FA is, huh?
Like the Hefe, like the Prez?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I thought you were talking about my enunciation.
FA,
Yes.
no.
All right.
That man, FA, man.
Good to meet the Prez.
Yeah.
Salute, sir. Tell me about your point of view. Where 7-on-7 is now, where it's come from, and where it's going.
I mean, me personally, I think in Louisiana, you know, it's always been a lot of talent. Where we stepped in at is we saw where it was a lot of talent that wasn't being identified. You know, a lot of talent that had been going under the radar. So we felt that if we get in with our skill set and our knowledge of the game, and you know, choose those diamonds in the rough, and you know, teach them the skill sets, you know, that'll get them to the next level. You know, I thought that, you know, Rohan and myself, you know, we'll be able to elevate the game in Louisiana even more than what it already was.
Yeah.
So we identified, you know, kids that had those measurables and those skill sets. And, you know, we taught them what we knew. We taught them, you know, what it takes to be, you know, a player at the next level. And those guys took it and ran with it.
This is a year-round process, it feels like. It feels like it never stops. It's not just summer, right?
Non-stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes us different. We don't just show up when 7-on-7 starts. We evaluate, we identify kids, like we mentor the kids that we already have. You know, we're giving them feedback, you know, week in, week out. We have a group text with all of our kids. You know, we got incentives tied to their performance on Friday night. So this is a year-round thing for us. And
as Ro has said, it's much more than football. It's even on the academics front and goes into that as well. How does this go as far as recruiting? I've seen him walk onto a high school field and see the attention that he gets from the players, and know that you guys are recognizable and people know you. But I also know this is a very competitive market.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How does that work?
I mean, me personally, I think it's enough kids out here for everyone. But I think our kids are going to always be different because of what we're instilling in them. Just like yesterday, I was up at the high school when one of our kids got in trouble. The coach called me to come check on the kid. So I came and picked the kid up from school. So we have relationships, you know, and our relationships with the kids, it goes way beyond football.
Yeah.
You know?
It has to be beyond football, though. Because especially now with these kids, man, if your heart is not into not just football, if you're not concerned about your grades, if you're not concerned about how you are with your family, the respect that you show your mother, your father, your teacher, elders, whoever it may be, then you can't play football. You know what I mean? Ultimately, football is going to be taken away from you, even if you see it all the time, even if you have the skill set to play. Eventually, big picture shit, right? Big picture.
Right.
Because that's what we're here for, the big picture. I had a talk yesterday with them kids down there in, where would I go? Turlin Catholic. And the talk was about decisions. So it's the same thing, you know, the decisions that you make impact everything. So we try to teach them not just about football, because football is really, it's really the gift. You know what I mean? It's really the what the good Lord gave you, you're able to do it. But if you don't do this, and this, you can't play football.
Right.
I'm not saying you won't be involved in it, but ultimately it'll be taken away from you because you're not doing the things that we're asking. Show us your grades, be on time, be early, yes sir, no sir. Watch your words when you're out at these fields. There's always people around. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just things of that nature. So yeah, for us, dog, it's year round. We're constantly meeting and trying to see how we can improve from last year.
100%.
Yeah.
That's why you involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Fletcher Painting, when we talked to Rohan through the week, remember Brian Fletcher over at Fletcher Painting and his crew are bringing you this coverage as always. They've got great experience in the market, over 40 years of experience. You can find them online and on Facebook as well. How much stock do college coaches put into the relationships that you guys have now? Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone with college coaches all the time. All the time. Myself, I coach college football for 3 years, so I kind of know what those coaches are wanting. You know, and a lot of times people may say, you're not going to get recruited from 7-on-7. That's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Right.
It's a
well,
lie
I mean, that's what AAU basketball is, right?
It depends on who the coaches are. You know, if you're around a bunch of guys who just select the team, yeah, you're not. But if you're around some guys who have knowledge and have connections and relationships, you know, you will.
Absolutely. Yeah. This seems like this has become almost like an AAU basketball type market.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
How do you see this functioning, Rohan, as far as it moving forward? It feels like it's on the doorstep of exploding. Just the 7-on-7
let me say
culture.
This. Other places, other states, it's bigger than what it is here. For the longest, here has been the bootleggers.
Right.
And I think now, like Ken said, man, with our coaches, the guys that we have that are developing, the guys, the young guys, even some of the older coaches, we want to have that culture to where our coaches come in or ever come underneath and they want to go on to do other things. It's not just you want to be a coach and you coach, mentor these kids, learn how to coach the proper way, go to everything that it takes for wherever these guys want to go. You know what I mean? So it is on the door. For us, it's on the doorstep of being bigger than 7-on-7.
Yeah.
I mean, so 7-on-7
almost
for
like
us,
an academy. It feels
it's
like
an event. It's a breathing ground. I think, like you said, it depends on who the coaches are and how you're going about your business. So if you're trying to develop, we speak to the high schools and speak to the high school coaches and find out from the high school coaches, because we don't want to leave that taste in their mouth that this is something that's going to be catastrophic for them, or these kids are not going to come back knowing their system. We're going to teach them just our ways. I'm going to teach them how to drop. Ken's going to teach them just how to back, whatever it may be. We try to engage with them to find out how can we help you guys throughout this time when you're not with your guys. They're mainly with us because we practice. And unlike other 7-on-7 that don't, we practice.
Yeah.
We practice 2-3 times a week whenever we can get it in, and we do individual training with our kids. So it's having that relationship with the high school coaches and then having them know that, okay, you go to F3, you go to Ken, you go to Roe, but at least we know that we've spoken to them, we have a relationship with them, and we're trying to develop the kids in a direction that not just they want them to go, but overall football skills and skills development, life development.
Is the goal scholarship?
Absolutely.
That's the ultimate, right?
For the kids,
that's the ultimate.
The kids, absolutely.
Yeah.
And changing their mindset of wherever they're coming out of. And some kids we have, man, don't even know how good they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we talked about, they don't even know how to work when they first come to us. And then everything changes once they start seeing how we work.
Yeah. Ken, how do you spend your Friday nights?
Game to game.
Yeah, is you just kind of bouncing?
I have a written schedule where I get everyone's schedule. And I bounce from game to game, you know, watching the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I actually have a game tonight. Last night I was supposed to go, but the weather for sure. So, yeah.
And that's the thing, man. We've been doing that the last 2 weeks. We went to Woodlawn and Madison Prep. Then we went to Madison Prep, St. Thomas More. And then last week went to Catholic Acadiana and Woodlawn and U High. I mean, that's the thing about the area. You can find so many games. I mean, tonight, Parkview and Madison Prep right here on Airline Highway.
And the crazy thing about us is we have pretty much every team in Baton Rouge who have somebody.
I can tell. When we walked up to Madison Prep Woodlawn, Coach, I'm telling you, and this is no disrespect to Madison Prep and Woodlawn's leaders. I mean, Roe was you could tell, you could see the connection that all of those guys had from him just from being with the summer group. Ro, what do you feel about tomorrow? How are we feeling about tomorrow? Just 24 hours out from this thing from LSU Central Michigan. We'll talk all about it tomorrow. But just after a week of preparation, where are you?
Well, I mean, if you going into this game, you would think that, honestly, both sides of the ball would try to establish the running game, especially on our side. I mean, we have to do something to calm Max down, to keep – I don't know what they did this week because – with the stuff that I haven't really even been paying attention to what's been going on over there. Things have been so crazy this week. But I do know that this is one of them games where coming off of a win off of McNeese, coming off of the UCLA loss, and now, honestly, if you jump over McNeese, because we all knew that LSU was going to beat McNeese. So for me, in this game coming up right now, with everything that's going on, things that's going on around the program, Kev having his leave of absence, just the cloud, so to speak, that's over right now. It's kind of like this is where I'm at. I think I know. We need a clear, concise victory with our offensive coordinator and our defensive coordinator and our head coach showing that we're on the same page and showing and seeing what they've done to correct, and not McNeese, but UCLA. Because I'm still on, we haven't corrected too many things from that game offensively. Defensively, I think we've taken strides. You can see where Jones is going with the defense, still trying to implement some things. But offensively, with the new offensive coordinator that hasn't called plays before, with a new, so to speak, quarterback in a new system, which he's familiar with, I think that we have to see a hell of a lot more in this week before we start kicking off SEC play to just have some, what's going to come with the defense, and we know offense takes a little bit longer to get going normally.
Right.
But now we need to see where you're going. Are you trying to establish the run and play action? Are you trying to change the launch points and get these fast, speedy receivers crossing and bending? I want to see what we're doing.
Yeah. Ken, what do you think?
And it has to be firm.
What do you think about that freshman receiving class? I'd imagine that you guys saw
trained them
all of them. Yeah, all of them. I mean, Brian Thomas, Chris Hilton, Malik Neighbors, Jack Besh. Did you see Deion Jones too?
Yeah, I saw Deion special.
I mean, how good are these? Is this group of receivers?
They're elite. They're as good as it gets.
Yeah.
I think in the next 2 to 3 years, you're looking at the same group you saw a couple years ago with Jamar Chase and Jefferson. I think that group has the potential to be that good. If they buy into what's going on now.
Yeah.
Because it's scary. The scary part to me is me watching the rotation. I mean, you don't want to lose no guys because the way the transfer portal is now. So you got to get those guys, involved.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Got to get them involved.
That's exactly right. And not only that, bro, like you got to have stability. We all talk about why certain positions haven't been, like the quarterback positions, why the quarterback positions haven't been where we've had a steady 4-star, 5-star, whatever it may be. But where have we had steady offensive coaches? Where have we had coordinators in place for an extended period of time? Where we're not rotating, it's not a revolving door, and now you're learning a new offense, kids transferring, I'm learning a new offense, kids transferring in, kids transferring out. It's not, we got to keep the stability at the top. And with everything that's going on and us now talking about possibly hot seat for coaches, however this weekend goes, I mean, we know what's buzzing around. So then again, we're talking about possibly another changeover. So you can't have stability at the position with the wide receivers,
right,
with the quarterback, if I'm trying to learn something new every single year. I'm never going to get into the position where I'm just reacting and playing football. I'm constantly, am I lining up right? Am I going the right depth? What's the play call? He telling me it's confusion. We need stability at the top.
Yeah. Consistency.
Right.
Right. Do people get involved with F3 by not soliciting you, right? I mean, I'd imagine that your phone probably blows up all day with people looking for a spot on a team. How do you put together these squads? And if anybody wanted to support or learn more about F3, how do they do that?
Well, we have an extensive tryout. We do 3-4 day tryouts where we eliminate. I think year one we may have had 100. I think it was like 115 kids show up. Last year we had about 250 kids.
How many age groups, Ken?
We just added 9 and 10. So we just added 2 youth teams, and then we have all the way through high school. So we're all the way from 9 to 18, 17.
Right. So it's a program.
Yeah, it's a program.
Yeah,
it's a program.
It's a program. We're just trying to identify at the ground level those youth kids, because one thing we see is a lot of kids, you hear it all the time. You go to the parks and recs.
Sure.
This kid's going to be special. This kid. And you see
my kid can play. My kid can play. My kid can play.
But you see so many kids have a drop off because they didn't have the proper guidance.
Sure.
They could play at that level, but as they got older, it was more than just playing. So we're trying to identify that young group and help to just guide them all the way through the process.
Are you seeing that you are that you're another option to baseball? Or are you seeing the interest in baseball because summer baseball down here is so popular?
Yeah. Well, we have kids. Yeah, we have kids who were predominantly summer baseball players that have stopped. That have put baseball to the side and start wanting, because that's what it is. Like when me coming up, I would do track in the spring because there was no other sport. Had I had football year round, I would have been playing football year round.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that's what it's turned into.
My son is 10, gave up baseball because there was a football option.
Yeah.
Because there's a spring flag football league and summer flag football league at Traction.
Yeah.
He said, I'd just rather do that.
Yeah.
So I think with more options, people are seeing that I don't have to be forced into the $1,500 a month baseball team, which you know what I mean. How does
we're a little cheaper.
Yeah, sure. How does that work? How does that work? What is like the financial structure of a 7-on-7 team? Like what would be my commitment if my kid played?
We try to make it depends on the year, from year to year, because we do have sponsors as well.
Sure.
Shock Doctor and Jarvis Landry, who's stepped in and sponsored our elite older team. So we have some of those. Like our elite team has zero financial responsibility.
Wow. Just a lot like I know we've brought it up, but I mean, I was on the AAU basketball circuit. Brandon Bass has an elite team. Like Chris Bosch has an elite team. I mean, you see Dak Prescott has an elite football team, right? Doesn't he? Has a 7-on-7.
Yeah, he does.
So like you're starting to see more and more of the pros, Jarvis Landry, get involved.
Yeah, for sure. So we try to make that not a problem. Because if we stepping in and saying, we stand on what we stand on, to have a kid that can't play with us, he has the talent but can't play because of financial reasons. We have sponsorship letters where these kids could take the sponsorship letter to his mom and or dad's job and get it sponsored, get it paid for. So we have all of those things in place for those kids as well.
Yes, indeed.
That's it, baby.
Yes, indeed.
Try not to turn them down, man. And the things that we go as small as. You have these kids, we have our kids, and whenever the SAT, ACT, things like that come up, and that's why we tell them that we need to see your report cards, we need to see your progress report, things of that nature. Shout out to Coach Sutton, who does a great job with that, who is now at Southern Lab. Shout out to him and good luck to him. But we don't want a kid, to say, oh, coach, but why you ain't take the SAT, ACT? You only have 2-3 times a year to take it. You're a sophomore, you're a junior. Let's take it, see where you at. Oh, coach, I can't afford that. My mama. That's the things that when we go and send sponsorship letters out to everybody listening, when we go and you see these things come around for us, those are the things that we need help with. Those are the things that sponsors don't sponsor. Those are the things, because we have over 200 kids, man. So to come out your pockets like we've done numerous times and pay, what is the
travel, hotel,
entry fees,
expensive.
And $30 for a SAT test, and it sounds like it's nothing for if you have it, but when you struggling, you have kids that are struggling for simple needs.
Sure,
$30 is a lot of money for that family to put towards a kid taking a test to see where he places, and you're only a sophomore. So families look at it like that's not a priority as a sophomore.
Down the line type stuff. Yeah.
For us to understand where the kid is, and then to set up tutoring and things of that nature. So that's what we really need help with, is the little things for the kids, the travel, the things of that nature, that so they could, listen, we taking kids, and it sounds so small to some people, but you have some kids that's never been out of Baton Rouge.
Sure.
That's never been out of Louisiana. And for them to not have to pay an expense and get on a bus and just show up, get a key to a hotel room, we expect you to act accordingly, and all those things, we place those responsibilities and just try to show them a different way, and who's been successful doing it the way we're trying to instill in them. So yeah, it's bigger than just 4 months, dude.
And their heart's in the right place. You see the social media on your screen at Ken Anillo Jr. is where you can find him on Twitter. El Jefe, the president, F3 Elite 7-on-7 football. Ro's obviously a part of the family here at the Jordy Culotta Show. You are too, Ken. Extend it anytime you want and need the platform to get any message out. But hopefully somebody in our listening audience sees this as a great opportunity to help. If you feel like you can help F3 Elite 7-on-7, or if you have it in your heart to just extend a donation, remember, you can get us here at the Jordy Culotta Show, or you see them on social media, and you can look them up there on how to get involved. It feels like the wave of the future. It feels like it is crashing on the shores of SEC towns. And the thing that Ro was telling us early on in the process, it's not all LSU, Bama, and Georgia. It's not all the big-time schools. Right. It's not. I mean, I know that's where the attention comes in, but it's really. I mean, it's all levels that are being represented.
Absolutely. Yeah. So one other thing that we do too, we identified a skill level. So we have kids when it's time for camps. We give them a list of camps that we think that they should go to. We're not going to send 5'6", 155-pound kid to LSU camp. Right. So we have those lists.
Let me get out there. Let me do somebody up.
We're trying to look out for you, man. We're trying to make sure that you're safe. We do all of those things. So it's not like
put you in the right pool, baby.
That's it.
Junior varsity pool.
Enjoy BRCC camp, brother.
They don't even have a football team.
Exactly. Ken, great to meet you, bro.
Whatever. I want to flag.
Likewise, Jordan. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, I've heard a lot about you and your program, and it's all been positive, so it's good to put a face with the name. And if we can ever help, we are here with Ro as always, and Ro's got an open door policy here. Anytime he needs anything, he knows he's in. So there it is, F3 7-on-7, F3 Elite, and also you guys have your own facility coming. That is. Yeah. Is it
coming in February? No, we can't say it in
Yeah.
February. Everybody knows it's going to be at Lamar Dixon. All the work and everything been started on it. We got some drainage issues that they want us to go ahead and take care of, and I think there's a underlying issue behind that based on some people that's trying to start up another thing that's going on.
But I could guess who.
Yeah. But what God has for you, no one can take from you, baby. So
absolutely. But I mean, like, that's got to be a hell of an advantage to have your own facility coming in February on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of programs out there that can say I got an indoor and a couple of outdoor fields where 100%. We can get this whole thing moving.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Bengals can't even say that.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Out there.
For Ken, for Ro and I will be back here tomorrow from the fourth quarter on. Lizzie will be here. For Katie, the entire crew, the Jordy Culotta Show here on this Friday. Remember to get out to Go Chevrolet. Tell them you heard it here on the show. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday. Everybody stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow and talk to you tomorrow right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Oh. Appreciate it, boys.